of congressional and House legislative seats were drawn, Republican governors and Republican majorities were responsible for drawing most of the seats. Now, I want to be clear, Democrats aren't blameless on this either. But California, for example, has gone to a process of nonpartisan districting. The advantage there is not only do you make more seats competitive, but it also means that politicians have to compete for everybody's votes because they're not in safe seats. They're not in a safely Republican district or Democratic district. And what that does is it means they've got to not just appeal to the extremes of their party. Part of the reason we've seen polarization and gridlock here in Washington is because there's been this great sorting, and Democrats have moved much further, have moved left. Republicans have just gone way to the right. And it's harder then to compromise because members of Congress, and this same thing is true in state legislatures, are always looking over their shoulder seeing if somebody in their own party might challenge them. And then the system doesn't work. So that's a big chunk of why people are cynical, because they feel like their votes don't count, and if you draw districts that are ironclad one party or another, then they're not entirely wrong. Another reason that people are cynical is money in politics. The Supreme Court issued a ruling, Citizens United, that allowed super PACs and very wealthy individuals to just finance all these ads that you guys see on TV all the time. Half the time nobody knows who's funding them, and that makes you cynical, partly because most of this money is spent on negative ads. And so you're just hearing constantly how horrible everybody is. That'll make you feel pretty bad about the political process. And I'm a strong believer in finding ways in which we can make the financing of campaigns more democratic. Now, we've seen some interesting work being done for, you've got to give Bernie Sanders, for example, credit. Building off some of the work that I did, I in turn built off the work that Howard Dean did for smaller donations, grassroots donors, to be able, in small contributions, to allow candidates to be competitive. But I think that we don't want to leave that to chance. And that's much harder to do for members of Congress who are lower profile, so they don't get the sort of viral presence that allows them to raise that kind of money to compete. So we're going to have to solve money in politics. You as journalists are going to have a role to play in reducing cynicism. It is very hard to get good stories placed. People will assign you stories about what's not working. It's very hard for you to write a story about, wow, this thing really works good. And just to take the federal government as an example, every day I've got 2 million people who work for the federal government, whether in our military, our law enforcement, our environmental protection, helping veterans, et cetera, and they are doing great work. And you rely on it in all kinds of ways, including when you check the weather, because you can thank the National Weather Service for putting satellites up so your smartphones tell you whether to bring an umbrella or not. But we just take that for granted. And if out of those 2 million employees, one person screws up somewhere, which every day you can count on somebody out of 2 million people probably doing something they shouldn't be doing, that's what's going to get reported on. Now, that helps keep government on its toes and accountable, but one of the things we have to think about is how do we tell a story about the things we do together that actually work, so that people don't feel so cynical overall. But look, here's the bottom line, is that let's take the political process. As cynical as everybody is, and everybody's always trying to come up with these radical new plans to try to fix our democracy, and we need to do this and we need to do that. The truth is that part of the reason why our government doesn't work as well is because in a good presidential year, slightly more than half the people vote who are eligible, and the other half don't. And during an off-year election, when the president's not at the top of the ticket and people aren't getting as much attention, 40% of the people vote. Now, this system doesn't work if people opt out. And the easiest cure, the simplest cure for what ails our democracy is everybody voting. Now, it's true that there's some states that purposely make it hard for people to vote. We're the only major democracy in the world that actively makes it hard for people to vote. And so you should be, particularly as in your student newspapers, as you go back to your home states, you should be asking, why is it that we have laws that are purposely making it harder for people to vote, purposely making it harder for young people to vote? And there's a political agenda there. The people in power don't want things to change. They want cynicism. Because obviously the existing system, as frustrating as it is for everybody else, works for them. Well, if you want to upend that, we got to vote. But even in those states that purposely make it harder to vote, the truth of the matter is on your college campuses, half the folks, maybe 2/3 of the folks who don't vote because they're just not paying attention. They don't consider it important. And they're not willing to take the 15 minutes or half hour that it takes to make sure that you're registered and make sure you actually vote. Well, if you care about climate change, you care about college costs, you care about career opportunities, you care about war and peace and refugees, you can't just complain. You got to vote. And what's interesting is young people, as a voting bloc, are the least likely to vote, but when you do vote, have the biggest impact on elections. During a presidential year, young people account for like 19% of the total vote. During an off-year election, when folks aren't paying as much attention, they account for 12%. And that means that the kinds of candidates that get elected and the priorities that they reflect are entirely different, just based on whether or not you guys are going to the polls. So don't let people tell you that what you do doesn't matter. It does. Don't give away your power. That should be the main message that you deliver all the time. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whether you're conservative on some issues, liberal on others. If you participate and you take the time to be informed about the issues and you actually turn out and your peers turn out, you change the country. You do. It may not always happen as fast as you'd like, but you'll change it. So I'll keep on talking about this even after I leave the presidency. This is, you got me started. I went on a rant, didn't I? All right. So I'm counting on you guys. Don't let me down. All right? Don't let the country down. You guys are going to be delivering the message to your peer group that this is the greatest country on earth, but only because we have great citizens who are willing to invest their time and energy and effort to become informed on the issues, to argue about it in a respectful way, and to try to collectively solve the many challenges that we face. The good news is that there are no challenges, as JFK said, that man creates that man can't solve. I would add women to that. All right? Good luck, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's some of the best words I've ever heard Obama say. Give me a second here. I'm going to kick on Scott because he's hanging out here. And I want everybody, before we move on, I just want everybody to understand that I was really, really glad to see Chad and glad that he came in. It just shocked me. And when you do what I do and have everything lined up really, really specifically, I'm like fucking Rain Man. You really don't know. I'm like Rain Man, except I'm not nearly as smart, nearly as charming. Okay, so I had everything lined up, and Chad freaked my shit. So we got through it, and we're here. The Obama thing, I had to take notes. But before we take notes, I just want to. I see everybody talking about it, and we just got to clarify something. For the record, all right. Yes, it is ironic that Obama was saying these things. There is beautiful irony in what he was saying.
What did he say that was new?
What?
What did he say that he hasn't said all along?
Well, maybe I you know, maybe that's the first time I really listened to him, but it's the first time I saw in his eyes him go, you know, I gave up my power. My power went away. Your power went away.
What I heard,
your power.
What I heard is the system works if people vote.
Right. I heard that, but I heard a lot of specific reasons that he's never addressed before as to why it's not currently working and what's going on while it's not working. Okay. He did speak to the money in politics. He spoke to the power that he is that doesn't want it to change. It's almost like, yeah, actually, it's in here. It's in here. I think this is really funny, Scott. It's in here. Like, I'm listening to him saying this. I'm going, yeah. But look at the definition of irony. And let me bring it in really close, everybody.
When he said this system works if people vote.
Exactly. When they can. He also said when they can. We're the only nation in the fucking world that oppresses the vote. Said when they can. But here's what he said. The irony is that I thought he could help me. That's the irony. I voted for Obama. I got off my. The irony is that those of us who went and voted for him thought he could help me. We went. You bet. We voted for you, motherfucker. We were there.
But he's also not saying that the system is rigged in favor of the two major political parties, and that's why people are cynical, because they don't think that their vote counts.
Well, my vote certainly didn't. Obamacare
cares that.
My vote certainly didn't. I cast a vote for everything I needed to cast a vote for. I was informed. I read. He also said that it takes an informed electorate. Hard to be informed when a vast majority of the poor South has no access to the internet, and what you get on mainstream media is an absolute shitstorm.
But you had to vote for a Democrat, right? You had to vote in the Democratic primary.
I had to.
You will be voting in the Democratic primary. Does the Democratic Party represent you?
No, they don't. The Democratic Party does not represent.
There's nothing in what Obama said that will solve that problem.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Where are you going with that?
I'm saying that the real political reform that needs to happen, he didn't talk about. That's he just said, "Oh, this system is wonderful if people vote."
I heard a lot more out of that, man.
Every politician says that.
I heard a lot more into that. Maybe you didn't. I heard the media can't tell the truth. They focus on the negative. Instead of focusing on the problem, we should focus on the solution. I agree. He called out the media big time. The media was supposed to be a check and balance. Yeah, he may not have gone after the DNC and the fact that he's part of that embedded problem, but I think he called out his own mistakes. I think he called out his own mistakes in a way. I think it's ironic that he's not going to help us right now. Why doesn't he throw an executive mandate and end Citizens fucking United? Bernie says when he gets into office, he's going to use executive powers to do that. Here's Obama like talking, well, it's just horrible, and then all of a sudden we had Citizens United, and what are we going to do if you had only voted?
That's one of the problems with Obama is he gives a nice speech, but he doesn't act on.
Thank you for saying what I have been saying about the fucker for so long, is that he's all talk, no goddamn action. Oh, he acts, actually. It's for the military-industrial complex. He's done a lot for them. And for the Republican Party, and allowing them to eviscerate Obamacare and turn it into basically a limp dick of fucking legislation.
Like everybody says that he ran a progressive campaign in 2008. He didn't. He ran a centrist campaign in 2008.
He ran a progressive campaign as defined in the narrative of corporate media, is what he did. Yeah. And we bought it. We bought it, and we loved it, and we were like, yay! And we cheered for it, and I was sucked into it, and we were all happy, and it was just, this is why, and I know we don't have him on the show anymore, but this is why Tim Black and I both agree. He's like, President Clinton was, he played the saxophone and charmed all the black people. And I'm like, well, President Obama shot hoops and did his thing and charmed all the white people. We were like, oh, yay, President Obama, look at him. He's got hope and change. And there was no change. There was no change.
And I think on the whole thing, which I think there was a misunderstanding, Chad was talking about getting involved in the party offices to change the party. And I was saying that sitting home and voting on the internet doesn't
change the party office.
Getting involved in the party and running for those offices. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, and I get it. I absolutely get it. That has to happen first. That has to happen first, right? Before we can sit calmly and vote on the internet and enjoy modern, we have to do the cowboy. We have to do the Wild West shit first, and it's that's.
But there's still going to be a role for being actively involved after it. You can't
there will
just
be, but it shouldn't be. There will be, but I think it's going to be in. I'm not going to look. There should be. But it should be modernized, like when we should have town halls that happen in every town, in every city. But when they have them so that they're broadcast on the internet, like we do, so that people can participate from home or participate from wherever the fuck they want if they're on vacation and be engaged, right? I'm not precluding that physical things need to take place, but they need to be organized, and the communities there needs to be money for that. That needs to be just part of the structure of our democracy, And it needs to be afforded for, and it needs to be cared for, and yes, the people need to be active in it, and those that can't be physically active in the event need to be active online. I think it needs to be a law. I like the idea of what is it, Australia? Like your penalizer, so you've got to vote, you've got to participate, right?
Right, but it just if everybody just votes and doesn't participate in the organization of the Democratic Party,
right?
Then the Democratic Party is going to continue to not give us great choices. Yeah.
I agree with that. But I think as we participate and we become the new Democratic Party, whatever the hell that looks like, as we become the new government, and I see that the millennials are the first generation, they're going to be like, you know what? We are the ones that can march in here, start taking these roles at an early age, start growing this into they have I could see them with a long-term plan. You know what I mean? But as we do that, what we can start doing is modernizing this bitch, because it functions so slowly and stupidly, and it needs to be it needs to function for millennials. It needs to be at the speed of 21st century, and those of us that can keep pace.
What I say in the article that I have coming out is we got to get to the point where it's not the Democratic Party isn't them, it's us. Not
yes. Yeah. Well, one person, one vote. We have the technology to make that happen. That's kind of where I'm going with we won't need as many working mechanisms, as many structures, as many groups, as many parts, because we can use technology to accomplish this as a distributed network, all right? And so it'll cut costs, it'll cut roles, it'll cut positions, because we won't need all this bullshit. Modernize the bitch. That should be the hashtag for the new democracy. I don't know. I want to look at what everybody's saying in comments here, because I know we've got people talking, and this has been I had some other notes on some things Obama said as well that I thought were interesting, but let's see. All the way back to the top here. Receding comet. Do you folks think we can win in the convention? Win what? I think we can win a lot of things. Do I think Bernie can become the Democratic nom? Yes. Do I think it will happen based on delegate count? No. I'll be honest. I don't. Do I care? No, I don't. What I care about is how much power we go there with, how much power we wield, and what we do with it when we get there. And that includes power of force outside. A show of hands. A peaceful show of hands, demonstrations, whatever it is. I think that is more important almost. So that's to answer your question. Scott, do we think we can win the election or the convention?
It's a narrow path. As Bernie is saying now, is a really narrow path. He's acknowledging that it's a really tough path.
He does, and we'll actually play a piece of that. What does this talk about FBI not finding anything on Hill? I've heard back and forth. Are you hearing? Is there a new story? I thought they were gonna. They had to depose her yet.
Yeah, that's
So
what
I don't know.
There's been opinion pieces that say they're not going to indict and stuff, but I think they're just opinion pieces.
Listen, don't count on it, guys. Don't count on it. That's part of their group. Don't, what we need to count on is us.
I like I've said all along, I'm not skeptical that the FBI might find a reason to indict, but I am skeptical that Loretta Lynch's Justice Department will indict.
Yeah.
They have the choice. It gets turned over to the U.S. attorneys who are answering to the Justice Department, Obama's Justice Department. So.
Right. There's also they've also said that they might not move or do anything on this until after the election. Right. That's
and
a possibility.
That brings up one of the things we're going to discuss later is that Bernie left the option of becoming vice president open.
He did, which would significantly change things. Significantly change things.
Right.
What do you think about that? Do you think that could even happen? Would they have to?
I think if it wasn't for just my theory, if it wasn't for the fact that there was a chance that Hillary could get indicted after the election, then he probably wouldn't consider vice president. But it's not a great chance, but there's a chance he could become president if he.
I would not mind that at all. And who is it that did that in history already? Was it FDR? Somebody did that in history. You always reference. It became the president because they were vice president. Was it Roosevelt? Teddy? I think it was because what's his ass was assassinated, right? I think that was. I'll have to go back and look at my history. I'm embarrassed. I'm pretty sure that's how Teddy ended up president back then. He was vice and this McKinley got shot. That's how it was. I'll look it up. I apologize, everybody. You're absolutely right, though. Hang on. There was a question here I wanted to address. Siddharth, is Bernie 2016 TV shut down? I don't know. Are we shut down again? I hope not. I can talk about that briefly. I've got pending copyright disputes on both Bernie 2016 TV and politicalrevolution.tv. As a matter of fact, I can show you why. That is one of the things I was going to talk about today. But
well, I don't think we've had an event on there because Bernie's home resting, I guess.
No, but it takes them 30. They have 30 days to respond to the dispute.
Oh no, but he might be just asking because there hasn't been any rallies.
Oh, there might be. But here, we'll talk about this anyway. Here's the dispute on the Charleston event. And I just want to show you how dumb this is. YouTube's system is very punitive. It's designed to punish for something that you should be punished for. It's very very ridiculous. If you look here, there are 3 copyright claims. I know it's hard to see. It's really tiny. There are 3 copyright claims on this one event because we run people's audio. DreamWorks TV, they're fine with it. They just monetize. The revolution will not be televised. That's Gil Scott Heron. We've run that many times. Merlin is the company that owns that, monetized. But here's the content from Broadway Video. Those were the guys that had that funny bit. They ran a funny bit. Hillary ruins Hamilton, right? So they've blocked it in all countries. Now understand, they blocked my video in all countries, not just their portion of my video. My video. So this means that they've identified the exact match. It's 10 at 20 minutes and 14 seconds in to 21 minutes and 28 seconds in. They've said, yep, that's our content, and for that amount of content, we're going to block your hour-and-a-half video completely from the world. That alone is absolute bullshit right there. If YouTube actually had a system that was designed to really accurately let us know what could or could not be played, then maybe they could come back to me and say, you knew this couldn't be played already. But they don't. They have a half-assed, really lame, and this is sad because they're Google. They've created the best, so they are the internet search, right? YouTube, owned by Google, integrated into search. But the check for audio-visual copyright list is not even complete. It doesn't include all of their videos, and the information there isn't all in there. The thing is, when you run something that may or may not be monetized, that may or may not be okay to run, it's ambiguous. Sometimes it'll say, yeah, you can use this, and the copyright owner will monetize. Sometimes it says, we don't fucking know. Good luck. Try your luck. But here's what happens when you do this, and you have this mix and match. Again, two out of three of these companies have fucking brains, because they understand that whatever it is I'm running is part of the sharing economy on the internet. And that means that it's going to get more money, it's going to get more clicks, it's going to get more reach, it's going to get more gain. And we typically do really well for the people that monetize on our channel. Now, this Hamilton piece, or that one comedy piece, right? They blocked it. I filed a dispute. I have disputes on both channels for numerous things, for pieces just like that. And what I say in the dispute is, you know, guys, here, actually, I have one of the disputes. Here's one. Here, let's look at this.
Just real quick,
Yes.
Bernie 2016 TV Live is fine.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Fine.
We are on channel 5, though. That's the 5th channel on Bernie 2016 TV. The other 4 have been shut down for various reasons. This is the Real Newsroom the other day, and this is SME. This is yesterday, and it says inactive dispute in progress. Right, claimant response by June 6th. They have till June 6th to respond to me. What I had to do was file a dispute, because their content, which starts at 1 hour 34 minutes into our content, which is an hour and 45 minutes long. I played 3 minutes of their content. And here's the funny thing. This content is Bruce Hornsby in the Range. It's an ancient video, like 20 years old. I just brought it back into relevance. They would earn money if they pulled their heads out of their ass and recognized that that's exactly what happens in the 21st century in the sharing economy, with your ancient video that now has relevance for a brief moment in time. But then you did this, which is dumb. Right? Now, I don't even care if that's what they want. If you really want to be that stupid and you really don't want to make money off your video, which is the whole reason you put it on YouTube in the first place, then fine. Block out your video. Out of my hour and 45 minute long broadcast of original content, block your 3 minutes out. Make it blank. Put a big note on it if you want. And YouTube, you know you can do this because you can identify it, and you've blocked out chunks of things before. You even used to offer me the ability to cut out segments. I tried it. It doesn't work. So instead of punishing the creative who made the larger portion of the work, why don't you let nimrods like this block their section? I don't give a fuck. You want to be an idiot, be an idiot. But don't penalize the other creative who has the bulk of the content. That's what I mean by punitive. And it's doubly punitive because they can respond. They've got 30 days to respond. And if they respond negatively, they shut the channel down. They suspend the channel from streaming. So I'm waiting to see what happens with both Bernie 2016 TV and politicalrevolution.tv, because depending on how YouTube is feeling that day, the weather, what's in their ass, they can decide numerous things to accost me with on both channels. I've had an entire YouTube account, my personal account, shut down and suspended. No conversation with them. I really, really wish, YouTube, you had the stones and the integrity to talk to me, not just send me a fucking Autobot email every once in a while. Terms of Service 4, Section H. Fuck you. Why don't you have the integrity to talk to one of the users who's actually bringing your service into the 21st century, taking the conversation out of the fucking toilet and the gutter and putting politics and intelligence into it? Maybe bringing you an audience that's not all about fucking games, cats, bacon, you know? Here to elevate. You work for the establishment. Have some integrity. Talk to me, you two. All right, I'm done with that bullshit. Moving on. A couple more questions here. So Bernie 2016 TV not shut down. I posted on Facebook yesterday. It's Kristen Cosgrove. Hosting my house to any delegate needing a place to stay in Pennsylvania. Spread the word to any delegate you know who is looking for a place to stay in the convention. There you go. Thank you, Kristen. D.W. Washburn, what kind of pressure are they going to put on other superdelegates? I don't know, Scott. What kind of pressure can they? What does that look like, pressure on superdelegates?
It's just they're going to just make the case that Bernie's more electable than Hillary. That's really the main case that they have now.
And I think I was going a little bit more. I mean, yes, that's the the primary case, but there's no tactic, because if this were the establishment, it's just how much cash. There's no wheeling and dealing. Maybe that's my question. Are there positions to be wheeled and dealt with within the Bernie campaign in that regard, or is that even an issue? I mean, you know what I'm saying, or is it just strictly here's the reason why you should switch over?
I think that's pretty much what there is. Here's the reason you should switch over.
Okay. So that's, to answer your question, DW, it really comes down to, look, be on the right side of history. You know. Jill R., so refreshing to see media with heart. Thank you, Jill. Sorry today's been a little more, it's me. It's me. I'm just, I was already angst today about so many things, and there's just so much energy. But anyway, I'm calming. Sekmar, so many new people here. Do we have new people? Shit, Scott, I just scared away a whole bunch of new people. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I can see Jesse's coughing. Coughing or laughing or both. Anyway, look, we do real media here. This is the news. This is the news when it's human beings, not bobblehead robotitrons. All right. All right. Did Obama have super PACs, or didn't Obama have super PACs? Sean,
yes.
Yes. Yes. But we weren't as concerned at that point, right? You know.
Oh, he would have super PACs this time.
What? Say that again?
He would have super PACs if he was running again.
He would. He would. He would. You know, he would. We're just not going to touch it. I liked what Obama had to say. I thought there was a little more meat to it than I think what Scott was pulling out. But listen, guys always got to remember that this guy's been around a little bit longer, and he's been involved in the political protest a little bit longer. So he's a little bit more, you know, come on. So, you know, it's got to take.
He was just being too pragmatic there.
What does Obama do with whistleblowers? I don't know. Has he ever well, Snowden? Nothing, really, right? He kind of just let that one go. He could have gone after him.
No, I don't think he could have. I think they went after him as much as they could.
Oh, all right. I think we need to, well, and I don't know, other whistleblowers, I really don't know other instances to rely on there.
Weren't there reports that the plane was... Oh, but they kept pressuring other countries not to give airspace, so they did as much as they could to try to catch Snowden.
Oh, all right, I'll believe you. I said I don't know. I'm gonna get some comments going. I think we have some to run here. Okay, let me see a few more questions here.
I think Snowden and his people were smart. They made everybody think they were heading to Latin America through Cuba, or South America through Cuba, and then they went to Russia. That's the...
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading some of these things here. Stizor, they need to end gerrymandering. That's fucked. Well, yeah, that becomes an end when it's one person, one vote. All that crap. Kip Humphrey, at the moment, losses $378 million per year in theft due to hacking. You need to watch our episodes with Place a Vote and how that works, and what's called bank level encryption with blockchain. If you're willing to trust your money, then you should be able to trust Place a Vote. And we'll talk about that the next time we have one of those guys on. Scott's like, eh.
No, but I understand a lot of people's skepticism. You're putting your trust in the people at the top of Place a Vote too. Well, one of the problems that we have with some of the other voting machine companies is the people who are writing the software are crooked.
But there's ways to check and balance that. they're willing to be wide open. As a matter of fact, they're like, nationalize it. You know,
Okay.
they're willing to. That's one thing that they've made openly clear. And actually, I don't know if you were aware of this, but I had a conversation or an email conversation. Yeah, you probably saw the conversation with. Dang it, I can't think of it. I think it was Job who said it. They basically said, we open anybody who wants data, who wants right now the code. I know they can't just like blast that open to everybody, but there is a way we can have oversight, public oversight of that, right? And with blockchain, things that he described that. Anyway, we're gonna have to go describe that. I agree. There's a lot of skepticism we have to get through, but the nice thing that everybody needs to remember about Place a Vote, the most important thing that we need to remember about Place a Vote is that it can be put into action as a test. It doesn't, without affecting the actual vote, it can be put into action right now, side by side, as a test to see how and get people involved. All right. If nothing else, if we get millions and millions of people to sign up to placeavote.com and start engaging in the conversation, and what happens is that we build this database of information that the representatives in our federal government actually give a shit about. And I realize this hasn't been moving through, and I feel really dumb. There. There. What it does is, if they've got 5,000 people, and he said there was a number, it was a pretty small number of how many people it took to have this is your constituency or a sample size. I want to say like 500 people was where he was going to, but if you got 500 people in each area for each rep, right? That data now becomes useful. They can literally go, whether they act on it or not, of course, is the next step. But when we get more and more people in this, millions and millions of people, we can show them this is what your constituency overall. And the reason why it's accurate is because it does tie to your voter database record. It is you, and that's where that blockchain technology comes in, to secure your vote. But it's only securing your vote within their system. It's not actually passing your vote to the government or anything. So we can test this, we can put this to action, but we need everybody to sign the fuck up. Let's use it for a couple years, work with it, expand on it. It is the backbone of the app for democracy. That's something else that I haven't talked about a lot, but that is something, the backbone of the app for democracy. Talk about the Verizon strike. Is that still moving on? What's going on? Any update or news on that? I don't know, Scott. And thank you. I don't know.
I haven't heard any.
Earth Jenna. I don't know.
News. Yeah.
No news? Okay. Are we at, we've got 6 minutes before Aniko comes in to tell us, shit, just do it now, Aniko, because you got a whole bunch of things to tell us. Let me get this up here and we'll, I know we're all over the place today. Hang on.
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah, we've got a few of them to announce to you guys. Good morning, everybody. Happy Mother's Day, and out to my mom, and
Nice.
we also want to make sure that these are, that you guys know that there's disclaimer, times are subject to change, but I'm announcing what the press releases have said. And the first one we have is New Brunswick, which is today, and that's at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The program starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have tomorrow on the 9th, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Program starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then he goes all the way to Sacramento, California. Same day in the evening. Doors open at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Program starts at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Then the next day, Tuesday the 10th, he's in Stockton, California. Doors open at 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Program starts at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Then he heads up to Salem, Oregon on Tuesday the 10th at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Doors open, and programs at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And then he ends up in Billings, Montana on Wednesday, May 11th. Doors open at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Program starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So he crosses a few time zones. And yeah, does a bunch of them. So that's it. Thank you.
Damn. Thanks, Aniko. Bernie is
Welcome.
burning across the country. So today, that is today, folks. This is the one happening today. It is it's in Jersey, right? Yep. New Brunswick, New Jersey, Rutgers. Nice. Unfortunately, I won't be able to bring that to you here. Please try some of the other channels that we usually grab our streams from anyway. and that would be News Universe, Bernie Sanders speeches and events, Rally Speech. There's been another one recently. Also, I think it's Democratic Underground. If you go to Democratic Underground, they usually have a page, and they usually blast it out early, that has all of the known Bernie Sanders events, and that's actually, sometimes I just go there and I grab those and wait to see who's scraping ABC or NBC or whatever it is. So please, the reason I say that is because just because it's not on Bernie 2016 TV doesn't mean that we shouldn't participate. And this goes back to something Scott says. It takes more than casting a vote. And so in the digital age, by participating in a Bernie speech, you can join the chat. You can help shape the conversation. You can help keep it relevant. You can eventually, like with News Universe, I know that there are many volunteers that are wrenches in both News Universe channel and in our channel, and it helps keep the conversation healthy and relevant and keep hate speech down and get rid of trolls. And all of that is part of helping change democracy. Even though it seems small, it's not. This is what ants do. Every little thing they do counts. And we are all the ants. Our volume together is what makes us so strong. So when you can't watch it here, try to watch it somewhere else. Share things on the internet. Blast. We put all the links to the show in the description, and we do that not just for the SEO value of this video content on the web, but so that you guys have an arsenal of truth to share and discuss. And that's part of building that informed electorate. If we can't get establishment media to do their job, then we need to inform ourselves. And we do that in any way we can. And that's why Scott is here, and I am here. And that's what, I mean, we're all here for Bernie Sanders. And that's, of course, the main goal. But to form and do the work in this way is so that we have a place to discuss this without establishment BS. So, anyway, good thing, Bernie on the move. Where were we at here? What time is it? At the top of the hour. I had a couple more notes on the Obama thing, and then he already said this, but people in power do not want any of this to change. He's part of that power system, and I just want everybody to realize that he's stuck in it. And this has been said by many people that he's stuck. I think a lot of politicians, maybe Scott, even you might have alluded to this, I'm not sure, that, you know, a lot, and Bernie, I know Bernie has alluded to this, that many are not bad. They're not bad in the core. They're just stuck in these positions that they can't get out of. And I just want to ask you, Scott, do you think, as we work to transform the democracy in whatever way it moves forward, at whatever speed, that there will be, Congress, with people within government now, older people within government, I want to focus on the ones that have been in there 10, 20, 30, 40, for a long time, that can be pulled away from the money, or do you think they're too embedded?
Well, I think there's some of both. I think there's people who have been in a long time. Bernie Sanders is an example. He's been in.
I know.
And he's. I think there's other progressives like Barbara Lee, Maxine Waters, others that can be pulled out of the money system, but there are those that are fully entrenched in it. I think there's a combination of both.
I agree. Do we make a list? How do we identify? Do we get them to sign a pledge? You know? I like that idea. Do we get them to sign up for place-a votes? Yeah, that would be the first step for me. Sign into place-a-vote, agree to at least participate and look at the data so that we can, that's, anyway, I just wanted to get your take on that. I think in a lot of ways, one of the things we have to wake up to, and I think something that Scott and many older protesters, and I don't say older individuals, Scott's not that much older than me, really. I'm an old fuck too. But people that have been more involved in politics, in mainstream politics for a long time, recognize that this is an attack that has to come from so many different angles, because we're attacking something so complex and crazy. And so to look at it from a very narrow tunneled approach, like winning the presidency, can be defeating,
Yeah.
I want to run this portion of the. I'm going to frame it up here for you. Tell you what we're doing. The brought the interview. So Bernie was home for 2 days. Bernie was home for 2 days in Vermont, and while he was there, did a long interview with Rachel Maddow. And Scott was telling me in production that normally they don't do that much time. This is a special thing. Of course it is, like 40 minutes. That's a lot of airtime to be given, Bernie Sanders, or to do an interview setting anyway. This is like a full thing. But I want to play one piece that is being looked at by the HuffPost in particular, and this is where Bernie rips the corporate media, in particular MSNBC and Comcast. And we're going to talk about that because Comcast just merged with Charter, and it all comes into don't give away your power. So let's listen to Bernie Sanders and what he has to say about this.
But I think we can. I think the American people are sick and tired of establishment politics and economics. And by the way, a little bit tired of corporate media as well. They want real changes in this country. And I think as President of the United States, we can ignite those changes.
What's the solution to corporate media?
I think we have got to think about ways that the Democratic Party, for a start, starts funding the equivalent of Fox television. Number two, I think the pressure has got to be put on media to say that, you know what, maybe as a nation, the American people are entitled to hear real discussions on real issues. You tell me, you're in the media, what percentage of media discussion in this campaign is about process? Who's going to win in West Virginia? How many delegates does Hillary Clinton have? What dumb thing did Donald Trump say yesterday, rather than, why are we the only country in the industrialized world not to guarantee health care to all people? How much discussion have you heard on TV about the fact that the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%? That's the kind of discussion we need, and the American people need to be engaged in that. So we have got to demand of corporate media, and that's going to be hard because this is against their own best interest. NBC is owned by who?
Comcast, our overlords.
All right, Comcast is not one of the most popular corporations in America, right? All right, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the American people are going to have to say to NBC and ABC and CBS and CNN, you know what? Forget the political gossip. Politics is not a soap opera. Talk about the real damn issues facing this country. I was in McDowell County, Virginia, West Virginia, yesterday. People's male life expectancy there is 18 years less than it is in Fairfax, Virginia. 18 years. People's male life expectancy is the equivalent of Guatemala. Do you think it should be happening in America? I don't think so. But we don't discuss those issues. So I would hope that the corporate media understands they have a responsibility to our democracy, to allow serious discussion on serious issues, not look at politics just as a horse race.
As a candidate, you have raised those issues consistently,
I have.
Over and over and over again.
Without much success, I must say.
Well, plenty of success. I mean, you've raised $250 million, right? You've
No, but I mean in terms of the corporate media, I've not.
Every time you get into the corporate media, the words that you want to say.
Well, I try to jump in.
Here
People want to talk to me. I know. Sometimes people think it's weird. Some commentator on CNN will ask me a question. Of course, I talk about something else. Because I think it is important that we do focus on the issues facing the working families of this country.
And clearly, what I mean to say about that is that you have brought that focus to those issues as much as you can through the vehicle of this presidency.
We've tried.
But when you talk about how things get fixed in the long run, you over and over and over again talk about not just yourself and what you want to do, but the movement and the people.
All right, I'm going to stop it there because I was looking for something, and I thought it was said in this piece, but it's not. It wasn't right there. I mean, obviously he hammers corporate media, and I think it's great. And yes, Time Warner, evil overlord, and they are merging with Charter, which then makes them the most dominant force in cable network, which is not good. And the FCC was like, no problem, whatever. They need to be broke up into tiny pieces. Comcast is a sick corporation. I just want to read. This is from the HuffPost article. And I just want to read the bottom portion of this because I didn't catch this. Maddow, this is here. That was awkward, but in a good way, I think. Maddow acknowledged the unusually frank nature of the exchange, teasing it in the preceding segment. That was awkward in a good way. I think I'll check to see if I'm still here after the commercial break, she added. Comcast, large cable operator, completed its purchase of a major stake in NBC Universal from the General Electric Company in 2011. The cable giant bought the rest of NBC Universal in February 2013. NBC Universal is the parent company of MSNBC, as well as NBC, Bravo, USA, and many, many, many other channels. It's seen as the Democratic channel. This is where we're getting to the fun stuff. It's seen as the Democratic channel. I used to see it as the Democratic channel. I did. They have that show, Morning Joe, right? I don't know what that is.
He's a Republican.
What?
Joe Scarborough's a Republican.
I know, but they seem to be relatively nice to Bernie Sanders comparatively, which makes them seem a little odd. This is a study by the watchdog Media Matters found that aside from the Ed Schultz show, or the Ed show that Ed Schultz hosts, which is now no longer in existence. All right, here, scroll down here. The Trans-Pacific Partnership came up only twice on MSNBC's evening programming over the period from August 2013 through January 2015. They canceled the Ed Show in 2015. The Intercept noted that Comcast has lobbied for the passage of TPP, and you know, it's so obvious what's going on here. Your media no longer tells the truth, and the real issue here, it hasn't told the truth for a long time, and now it's becoming more and more owned by one small special interest, one group of really, really rich people. All right. The problem with Rachel Maddow and all of this is that she could be a steward of real journalism at this point. All of them, people that I actually had respect for. Right. Granted, she's given Bernie some airtime. That's great. Then she openly acknowledges, yep, Comcast is the overlord, yet she'll continue to misrepresent things constantly in headlines. And so will everybody else in establishment media.
If she doesn't, she'll lose that show. She'll
right.
follow Ed Schultz to.
Right. But here's and this is what I'm saying. I guess this is where I'm going. In other industries, when things are not right, and granted, it's usually about wage. It's usually about wage, which is where it happens in a capitalist society. But in other industries, when it's about wage, people go on strike, right? When it's about mistreatment, it's about strike. So when people are being treated poorly, the problem is the journalists don't recognize that they're being treated poorly. They're not being allowed to be journalists. They've been transformed into highly paid bobbleheads who preach propaganda. They have no integrity, and they probably didn't realize that they had given away their power. Right? By continuing to take paychecks, by continuing to spew the narrative, and not really think about what they were saying. And at some point they went, fuck, what happened? What happened here? I gave away my power. I'm not a journalist anymore. I'm just a megaphone for my parent corporation, Time Warner, the overlord. How did that happen? See, everybody in this situation has given away their power. We give away our power when we sit on our ass and don't vote. And we give away our power when we only vote and don't do anything else. And we give away our power when we choose to be ignorant and uninformed about the issues of the day. When, despite what establishment media fails to do every day, we also fail to take the initiative to read, to look, to understand, to listen and go, that doesn't sound right. There's something wrong there. I want to know more. Why the fuck would we do that? How many times have you said that? Why the fuck would we do that? Well, go look up why. And then get active and make sure we don't ever do it again. Don't give away your power. That's what we do when we stay ignorant. That's what we do when we don't participate. And that's what we do when we let politicians, including Obama, continue to do what they do. And the problem is we've given away so much power, we're like scrambling. Like, how come we can't do this? Look, all of us noobs in this political race with the whole system being rigged, it's like funny in a way. I know it doesn't seem funny like sick, like funny like how. No, how is it funny? It's funny in the sense that we're scrambling like children trying to understand something that's been in place and been changed for so many decades to remove our power we thought we had. And that's the sad thing. We thought we had it. But it's taken away from us because we didn't stay informed. Our bad. We can blame everybody else, but the truth is, it's our bad. So, don't give away your power is the real lesson of today. There's so many other stories. Let's go to that CNN piece because we need to talk about a solution, Scott. We need to talk about how do we fix this shit. And Bernie is alluding to.
Well, I don't think that being vice president. I think it's the most meaningless position, except that you're a heartbeat away. If something happens to the president, it's a meaningful position.
Right.
But otherwise,
right.
What has Joe Biden done in the last 8 years?
Well, other than pretty much endorse Bernie. No. All right, let's listen to what he says.
If she were to get the nomination, would you consider being her vice presidential running mate?
Well, right now we are focused in the next 5 weeks of the Democratic nomination. If that does not happen, we're going to fight as hard as we can on the floor of the Democratic Convention to make sure that we have a progressive platform that the American people will support. And then after that, certainly Secretary Clinton and I can sit down and talk and see where we go from there.
Well, I guess an alternative question would be if she came to you now or relatively soon, approached you and offered you the vice presidential running mate slot, would you drop out?
I think that is a hypothetical that will not happen. And once again, there are 9 states left. We think we have a good shot to win in West Virginia on Tuesday, Kentucky and Oregon the next week, and we think we can win in California. So we're going to fight for every remaining vote in the next 9 states. That's what.
Wolf tries so hard. He really does. Come on, please, Bernie. Please say it so I have the soundbite. He really, really wants it so bad. Sorry for the audio bump, everybody. It was really quiet at the beginning, but that was just Wolf talking and nobody.
But you didn't.
What?
The key part of the clip is still coming.
Oh, no, we got like no seconds left.
Well, then,
really?
Then this clip didn't address where he. I don't think he didn't get to the end where he said he's going to do everything he can to stop Trump, and he'll sit down with Hillary. Did he say he sit down with Hillary there? I didn't hear that.
No, but maybe I cut it off with you soon. I thought it was like completely over. It was running into the leader. Let's see.
Where we're at right now.
Nah, runs into the leader. Okay, so maybe that's not the right piece.
That clip wasn't. That clip didn't show that.
Taking issue with people calling you the presumptive nominee on the Democratic side. What do you say to
that? That's not it. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so that's not the right clip then. What we were looking at, or what we wanted to talk about.
Well, that was the beginning, but he went on to say that after the convention he'll sit down with Hillary and discuss the future.
Okay.
Which is where it really left it open.
Okay.
Possibly.
So
yeah.
There is more of that. I thought when he started saying that's a hypothetical that won't happen, but I guess Wolf got him when it came around to Trump, the Trump scare, right? How will we face the giant Trump scare together? Will you band together with Hillary, with the Hillary monster to attack the Trump monster?
Yeah.
Sorry, I finally got a chance to watch the new Star Wars movie last night, which has nothing to do with anything, but I really like the monsters that Han Solo was dealing with at that one point, and somehow that's just made me think of the Hillary monster. And no, I'm not trying to be disparaging on Hillary or anything. I'm just having fun. All right, so what else? There was that. Anything else you really want to talk about? Because this is running late today, and I want to cover.
Well, Maine has voted already.
Oh yeah. Get into that, man. That's awesome.
So in Maine, if they're able to enforce the rule, there may be challenges. I don't know how it work. The superdelegates that are allotted to Maine would fall into the same process as the regular pledged delegates. There's the selection of those delegates would go based on the vote in Maine under this new rule.
Awesome.
But that's just Maine. That's only Not any other state.
Right. But still, so that means, let me make sure I understand this. Does that affect this convention?
I don't think so. I think it said
future.
It said future.
Okay, so understand, everybody, this is how slow things work. So for this time, superdelegates count. Next time,
but I think they're encouraged to go by the vote. I think there's language in there that encourages the present superdelegates to honor the vote.
There you go. So remember, everybody, I don't know, maybe you don't remember. The other day I asked Scott, I'm like, how do we do that? Can we put in somewhere that the superdelegates have to do something one way or the other if they're going to exist? Well, yes, we can. Will it work? Who knows? But we can write it into the legislation and say, you guys really ought to think about the people when you make a vote for this time. And then next time, assuming all goes well, superdelegates don't exist in Maine, correct?
Right, and I don't think the rules are set in stone at the national convention yet.
Okay.
I think it's likely, and especially with the committees stacked the way they are now, that it's likely that it'll be an uphill battle to change any rules before the convention. But in the beginning of the convention, they have to adopt the rules of the convention. And if you challenge that, then you can move to change some rules, but you got to have the votes. That'll be the key. You have to have the votes to change the rules.
Okay. And I mean, and that's part of the strategy that Bernie's looking at, right? Having the votes to change some of the rules, or change the rules we want to change, or as many as we can change.
And that's the fight that, to me, is more important than the platform fight. They keep talking about the platform fight.
What do they mean by that?
In reality, the platform isn't a binding document. It's just
what does that mean? Explain the platform versus the rules.
The rules are how they conduct a convention. What the rules of the convention.
Okay, and the platform is like what the later stuff.
We believe that the minimum wage should be $15 an hour, but it's only what we believe. It's not anything binding.
That's important. That's important. So what you're really saying is that Hillary would be like, I have no problem adding all that bullshit to the platform because we don't have to abide by it. What?
They'll fight some of it. They'll want to not be. They won't want the party tied down to specific position. They'll want to try to keep the party as centrist as possible.
Of course, because there really is no left. So yeah, they'll want to be the middle. We have a middle and a right. That's basically what we have. We have a middle and a right. So you'll want to keep it there. But Hillary is going to be more willing to negotiate. They're going to be more willing to negotiate on the platform crap because
it's not binding.
Not binding. Now the convention rules, those are the ones that we really, like you're saying, we give a shit about because
you can eliminate superdelegates in the rules.
Right. But the convention rules do not affect the current convention, so don't get all excited when they.
Well, they could. They have to adopt the rules. They have to approve the rules in the beginning of the convention.
Oh shit! So they really could affect some.
It could, depending on the language of the.
Wow, that's pretty badass, everybody. I don't know about you. That makes me happy.
Which is why in the past, it's always been dominated by whoever the nominee is, the committees. So I'm glad that Bernie's standing up to that, but it's likely that past president will continue and it won't be proportional, the divvying up of the committee assignments. Or the delegates appointed to the committees probably won't be proportional.
Right. Well, steps. Hey, Kellen, you're a New Jersey native. You think Jersey's going to be a fight to the death? I know you do. The polls are saying otherwise, but We don't have to trust the polls. I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, we're going to cover a couple other things really quick. 1021. This story breaks my heart and makes me scream for joy at the same time. Let me tell you why. I have the absolute deepest respect for Jon Stewart. As a matter of fact, many of you have probably realized that a lot of the things I attempt to do in my own lame way here are a reflection of Jon Stewart. If you want to know who I studied years ago as I was putting together this platform, I was figuring out how I wanted to build a newsroom and do this show. And yes, this has been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. When Bernie came along, I switched over to just rallies, and then I was like, you know what, we still need to do this too. Well, Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert were the two flagship shows that I watched to discuss news, because you couldn't get anybody worth a shit on establishment media that was talking about the issues. At least nobody that I could find. That I would rather have it delivered and talk about the stories with human feeling and humor when it because it needed to be, right? And Jon Stewart, amazing human being, walks the talk, left the Daily Show, and has been working for the 9/11 first responders and firefighters in New York City and all of his other causes that he takes up. And apparently he signed a 4-year deal a while back to come back via HBO whenever he's ready. And I guess he's going to come back and do some commentary on the 2016 election. And I think that's fantastic. But I have a plea. I have a plea to you, Jon Stewart. I don't really think you'll get this. I know you're very busy and you don't know who we are or what we do here. I know that. But maybe if you're lucky enough, if somebody drops this in your lap, or you're bored on a plane or sitting on a bus or something, you're like, hey, watch this goofy guy. I absolutely love what you do, and you were the inspiration for bringing real news back to the news. I would hope that in your deal with HBO, even though the suits and ties say in the article that you have free reign to do what you want, that you would blend your prime time broadcast with the internet. Because if you don't, you continue to separate these two worlds of information. And I don't mean that you do your show and then you cut up your video and you plop it up there on YouTube for us to watch. I mean integrate with the live social net. It's what we do here. And I'd like to talk to you about that, but you really need to see where the future of conversation is going. And the audience that you reach is diminishing because they spend more of their time on the net. And HBO is a closed, pay-for, old-school, traditional network. And it's great that they're giving you free reign, and it's right that they should, but it's still locked down to the HBO establishment pipeline and void of the actual conversation happening with the American public. And we would love to have that conversation with you. So I invite you to join us on the internet where your audience is, really. I'm not saying they don't exist there on HBO, of course they do. But you have a whole new generation of audience that already loves you and respects you. Let's blend those two worlds. Let's not keep them apart anymore, right? Building bridges. It's Bernie way. You know that. And yeah, all right, so done with that. Jon Stewart. Whatever he does, you know we're going to watch it, you know we're going to love it, and you know it's going to be awesome. I just wish he'd do it here. Not here, you know, here, internet here. All right. Like you guys are talking about Lee Camp. See that? Nice. I want some Jon Stewart too. I really miss him. I really do. Fantastic guy. And the crap he's dealing with, the bullshit about the 9/11 responders. I don't even know where that ended up with. Are they still getting shit on? Did they ever get the insurance put back in place? Whatever was going on with that? Do you know, Scott? You're muted. Something happened to your audio. Where'd you go? Scott, you there? Uh-oh. He's disappeared. All right, I'll get him out of there. Got him shown on screen. Sorry, everybody.
Another page. I'm sorry. And I forgot I had to get back here to unmute.
That's right.
The last thing I remember was a victory, I think. So
really?
Wasn't the last news that Stewart and the 9/11 responders made? I think it was a victory.
Awesome. Good. That's good to know. I'm glad
I
he was
don't know
victorious.
if it was 100% victory, but something went good. It was.
Okay.
I just don't remember.
All right. We'll look up the information. We'll look it up, see what's going on there. But cover that story. I'd like to circle back around to that because I don't remember what was going on, and it's cool that Jon Stewart's gonna come back to us one way or the other. So, good. All right. Just want to check in on some news. Eddie, not at all, John. Canvas yesterday. New Jersey is Trump and shill country, Eddie says. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. But you know what? Thank you. Look, I just want to say this to Eddie and every other person out there who is canvassing in a state that they know is overrun by Trump and shill. All right. Thank you for doing what you're doing. That's the point. If you weren't out there as a voice of the opposition, as a voice screaming, no, please look at Bernie Sanders. Please let me talk to you about Bernie Sanders. That's the drive, the passion, the work. That is the hardest work when you are trying to convince a whole bunch of people around you who don't want to listen to what you have to say. To listen to what you have to say, that is the most difficult thing to do. That is what Bernie has been doing from the beginning for 30 fucking years. He's been screaming at a bunch of fucking gas bag shit stains in Congress going, hello. We're finally listening. So Eddie and everybody else out there who's doing what Eddie's doing, thank you. You're doing the hardest, shittiest work. Thank you for doing it. And keep doing it. All right? That somebody else put in here, democracy is a verb. Fuck yes it is. That's democracy. All right? It's working your butt off with the fucked up system that you have to do what you can to fix it. That's democracy. All right. So I was going to cover, we're running late. We're going to do this. We're going to have to do more about Mother Earth. It's Mother's Day, by the way. And I had this big, long thing I was going to talk about on Mother's Day and where that goes with Mother Earth and all that stuff. Maybe I'll just push that off into tomorrow because I want to give it the right respect. My mom would have loved Bernie Sanders. My mom passed away in 2014, and she is primarily the reason a lot of this stuff is here right now. And I named the main computer Eileen. All right, that's my mom's name. But the reason is because she was very much into politics. She campaigned for Obama. She donated to Obama. She worked in one of the volunteer things in Littleton, right? And she believed in being active in democracy. And at the time, I was like, yeah, that's great, Mom. Obama's going to win. I cast my vote. I didn't do jack shit else, really. I was very active on social media, but I didn't really do much beyond that. My mom was, right? And I think she would have loved Bernie. I know she would have loved Bernie Sanders. She wasn't very happy with Hillary Clinton. She was excited about the idea of Hillary being the first woman president, but she didn't like a lot of what Hillary stood for. She would have loved Bernie Sanders. So, happy Mother's Day, Mom. And here's to creating a democracy that Bernie Sanders and you will really, really love. And I know you can probably see it from wherever you are in space. My mom, big science fan, and she had a great way of blending science and her faith. She 100%, she's a nurse, 100% believed in science, absolutely believed in everything that came out of science, and still believed in God. Just said he made all this stuff. I loved her view on that, and she had the most open mind of any adult I've ever known. And so we need more people like that. That was my mom, and so thank her for Bernie 2016 TV. All right. We're going to talk. We'll talk about the climate thing tomorrow. We'll talk about some of these other things tomorrow. Really, we're going to go out with. There's just too much stuff. Too many good stories. Too much stuff. All right. Bottom line is, what do we got? We got West Virginia coming up, right? We got Bernie rally today. It's Bernie stuff tomorrow. Keep phone banking, face banking, caucusing, groundwork, whatever it is, wherever you are. If you're wondering what you can do and how to get involved, BernieSanders.com. It's all there. all of it. It's a beautiful website. Explore it. Go there. Look. That is home base. All right. Get involved. Be a part of your democracy. Be a verb. We're gonna go over with something silly. This is from Blue America. It's a parody. Numbers Ramba. And this has to do with Florida and Tim Canova and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We talked about yesterday. And Tim Canova is a good guy. We got to get him in office down there and get Debbie out of there. What's happening in Florida with Tim Canova is a great example of the same kind of thing we've done for Bernie at a smaller scale. Because he got $500,000 in like the first month of fundraising because he was really able to publicize his effort as a Bernie-crat and against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And the fact that he was able to get enough media play on the internet and wherever else he got it, got him a great number of small donations. It's the same kind of thing as Bernie. We crowdsourced $500,000 for Tim Canova. That's badass. Now, he actually needs about $1.5 million to effectively run. That apparently is the running rate for a senator or whatever. What is he? House rep? I'm sorry. What is Wasserman Schultz's actual job, Scott? What is her title? He's watching shit. He's not even listening.
Party chair?
Party chair. No, but I mean, like, she's a House rep, Florida.
Yeah, House Congresswoman.
House Congressman Florida. So $1.5 million. That's what it costs to elect a House rep. We got a third of the way in 1 month. Now, Debbie obviously has an unlimited coffer with the DNC, because that's how they roll. Actually, I'm not sure about that, considering most of that money went back to Hillary. I don't know that she's got anything to work with. Maybe we can, easily outrun her. Anyway, these are the kind of things we need to do. We need to look locally at our Bernie-crats. We need to help our down-ticket politicians that aren't getting any airtime. That's why we run We the People. Right? We need to get involved with our politics at the state and local level, because that is how we take it to the feds. Be a verb. Feel the burn, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Number one, I'm number one at taking care of number one. The 99 are much less fun than hanging with the ruling one. You hit a number, rumba. We go to numbers, rumba. We got your number, rumba. Counting money all day long. Number two, I'm a number two in locking down data until I'm sued for protecting friends from red to blue. Rumbo, I wanna be like you. Your body's wonder, rumba. Your life's asunder, rumba. That ain't good culture, rumba. Counting money all day long. Number three, you're also free till a hot bus gets you 1 to 3. When you'll be profiting me in the penitentiary. Your name is Number Rumba. Shook us from slumber, rumba. We got your number, rumba. Counting money all day long. Number four, jobs offshore. Worker wages don't need no floor. Ask for more, we'll teach you the score. Fast tracking you out the door. They made a bundle, rumba, for you to bundle, rumba. It wasn't subtle, rumba. Counting money all day long. Number 8, if paid late, your payday loan will have double rates. Don't regulate, just celebrate. Your payday pays this candidate. Don't you wonder, rumba, how we got your number, rumba? You made a blunder, rumba, counting money all day long. Number 9, I won't resign till I is dragged up, you drag down across that poverty line. Your money hunger rumba, left you outnumbered rumba. What you hear's the thunder rumba of county voters all day long.
You know, says it with the words, right? He says it with the words, but not necessarily on television. Lindsey Graham, it's almost like he didn't run. He gets on, I don't like Donald Trump. I don't think he's not a conservative. He goes, he is not a true conservative. Who the hell cares? We got to straighten out our country. First of all, who cares? Who cares? $105 billion. Let's stay conservative. I am a conservative. I'm very conservative. In many ways, I'm much more conservative than they are, okay? In many ways, I'm much more conservative than they are. But on things like trade, it's supposed to be free trade. The problem is, you have to do free trade, you need really smart people negotiating. We have dummies. We have dummies. We have people that are incompetent. We have political hacks negotiating with some of the smartest people in the world from China, from Japan, from Mexico, from all these countries, and we send in these dopes. And we have a $58 billion trade deficit with Mexico, not including, I'll fix it fast, so you won't even believe. You won't even believe. You won't even believe. We will fix it so fast. And by the way, we will build the wall. We're going to stop the drugs from coming in. We will build the wall. It will be a nice high wall. Oh, this is peanuts. This is nothing compared. We will build the wall. It will be a beautiful wall. It will be a big wall. It will have a door in it because we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally, okay? They have to come in legally. But this will be a beautiful, beautiful, tall, strong wall that nobody's playing games with. You ever see the walls they have now? They have these little walls. They drive trucks. They put a ramp up. I even say, why do they do that? They could just drive right through it. But they put a ramp up. They go over, under. They have drugs loaded in the trucks. They drive right across the border, okay? They sell the drugs. They destroy our children. They destroy our way of life. They destroy our families. Heroin. In New Hampshire, I won. It was my first state. I love the people of New Hampshire. They entrusted me. And I'll tell you what, New Hampshire is so beautiful. It's like this in a way. Look at the trees, like this. So beautiful. You drive through these beautiful country roads, and the people, and New Hampshire is like a very important political state, right? And they entrusted me. And I went to meetings. It would have huge crowds. But I'd go to meetings with people. I say, what's your biggest problem? They say, heroin. I said, heroin? How could it be? Look at the lakes. Look at the trees. You know, it just doesn't look like heroin. They say, our youth is being poisoned, Mr. Trump. It's coming in. The heroin is so plentiful, coming over the southern border. It's so plentiful, Mr. Trump, that it sells for less than candy. You can buy a Mars bar. It costs you more money than the heroin. And our children are being poisoned. And our people are being poisoned beyond the children. I said, I will stop it. I will stop it. I'm going to stop it. And you have the same problem. You have the same. Everybody does. But for some reason, New Hampshire has a big problem. I wasn't supposed to win New Hampshire, right? And a lot of people said, oh, Trump will win. I won in a landslide, okay? That's where it all started. We went to South Carolina, won in a landslide, okay? And that was heavy evangelical, 68% evangelical, won in a landslide. Won the South. We won Alabama. We won Arkansas. We won Kentucky. We won Florida. We won Missouri. We won everything. I mean, we won everything. And finally, they just all gave up. You know, Krauthammer saying the finest group of people ever assembled? They're gone. They're gone. And actually, Biden or somebody said today, be careful of Trump. Be careful of Trump. One of the big people, you'll see who it was. Be careful of Trump, because I know the people that are sitting home right now watching what's happening on television. And they're tough and they're smart and they're capable. And they're looking at their wives and they're saying, what happened? And this group, this guy, who was a Democrat, said, you better be careful what you wish for. And let me tell you, the last person that crooked, oh, is she crooked? Is she crooked? Is she crooked? Can you imagine 4 more years of Obama? Because basically, I think she'd be worse than Obama. The last person that crooked Hillary Clinton wants to run against, believe me, and I know for a fact, is Trump. The last person. So, and she's got this friend, Goofy Elizabeth Warren. I call her Goofy. She hasn't done a thing as a senator except get, like, publicity. She's a great liberal. She's a nasty person. She hasn't done a thing. She's been a total failure. She's from Massachusetts, a state that I got almost 50%, and I won it in a landslide, which is amazing. Now, in all fairness, it helped that the great quarterback Tom Brady liked me, but these are minor details. Okay? But this Goofy Elizabeth, she's such a goofy. She goes out, she talks, she's like a politician. You know, she's the one that said, yes, she's part Native American. You're not allowed to say Indian, so I won't say it because I want to be politically correct. I refuse to. She said, yes, she's 5%. She's 5% Native American, right? Why? Why? You know why she said she was? Because she felt that her mother had high cheekbones. She had no other information. So she's been going around, which is a fraud, she's been going around pretending that she's a minority, right? And she's doing things, and she's getting into colleges, and she's doing all sorts of things. She's a total phony. So I call her the Goofus, okay? Elizabeth Warren. Now, I hope she runs with Hillary, because I would like to take them out. I'll tell you. I'd like to. They're phonies. They're phonies, and I'd love to take them out. Honestly, I think Hillary is too smart to pick Elizabeth Warren, but I would love to see her. I would love to see her. Let's see what she does when they say, we want real proof that you're a Native American. That was a beauty. That was a beauty. So we have a big thing going. But I have to say, though, folks, I'm telling you my statistician. I have to get back to it because it's so bad, okay? Do you mind for just 2 minutes if I depress you? But it's not depression, because what's going to happen, we're really giving a very positive message. Just make America great again. Somebody said that's not a positive message. I said it is a positive message, because what we're going to do is make America great again. Look, timber, right? Do we love timber, right? Oh, man. Your whole thing is going. Timber's down. Labor force in Linden, labor force, the region, is 3,000 people smaller today than when Obama took office because you have a lot of bad deals being made, bad trade deals. Did you know that it's 3,000 less? Maybe I'll move up here. We'll get this place. Come on, what's wrong with you people? We got to get this place going. Look at this. Number of timber and construction jobs has declined 20% in Linden region since 2006. That's not very, 20%. Come on, folks, what the hell is wrong with you? The truth is, it's your leadership at the top. They're making it impossible for you to compete with other companies. The trade deals are a disaster. You can't sell your product. You can't sell your timber. You can't sell whatever your product is. You can't sell it. They won't even take it. And when they do take it, they charge you tax. When we take their product, come on in, folks, come on in. We're not going to do it. We're not going to take this. We're going to negotiate trade deals. They're going to be so good and they're going to be so smart. We have the greatest business people in the world. Carl Icahn endorsed me. Many of the business leaders have endorsed me, the great ones. And we're going to use our great business people to make our deals. Right now, the political hacks, they're not doing too good. Nearly 1 in 7 manufacturing jobs in the state of Washington has been lost. NAFTA, listen to this, NAFTA has been one of the great economic disasters. Who signed it? Clinton. Clinton. It has destroyed, I'll tell you what, it's destroyed our country as we know it. I went through New York, upstate. I went through Pennsylvania. I just won all these states. And I went through Connecticut and Delaware, all of them, Maryland. They are wiped out. You know, when I say give me these stats, they're all about the same. You know, manufacturing down 50% and in a short period of time. Jobs are moving to Mexico all over the place. We are so poorly represented. We're going to end that, okay? We're going to end it. Let me give you just a couple of more depressing facts, okay? Oh, I'm surprised to hear this, of course. Illegal immigration costs in Washington State is costing the taxpayers, that is you, $2.7 billion a year. Washington State, which is, by the way, one of the most beautiful places on earth. Don't move. We're coming with help. There's no place you can move anyway because everyone's doing lousy, okay? It's not like you have a choice because they're all the same. I figured Washington's doing well. You know, beautiful, and I'm looking at the numbers. Washington State has received a large influx of refugees, and Syrian refugees are on the way to the state. You know that, right? And you know what? We want to help. We want to help. But we have so many problems. These people are totally undocumented. There's no proof. They have no paperwork. Nobody knows where the hell they come. Do you ever see the line, the migration line, that big line? It's a sad thing to see. Hey, look, I have a bigger heart than anybody. It's a sad thing to see, and we should take right over there in Syria. We should build safe havens. We should build safety areas. And the country has no money. We have essentially $21 trillion because the last budget was so bad. We're going to be up to $21 trillion very soon. So we have no money. I'll get the Gulf states to pay. I'm very good at this stuff. The Gulf states. They're not putting up money. They'll put up money. And we should build safe zones for Syrians. But we can't bring them to Washington State, and you don't even know where they're going. You know, you saw what happened in Paris. You saw what happened at the World Trade Center. You saw what happened in California with the 14 people that they worked with shot, killed, many people in the hospital. Right now, many, many people in the hospital. These are people that nobody knows who they are. And they're going to be in your community. You can't do it. Okay. Look at this. More than 90% of the recent refugees from the Middle East, and this is right out of the book, folks. This is not somebody, this isn't Donald Trump writing something. More than 90% of the recent refugees from the Middle East receive welfare, okay? No, it's amazing. I mean, the stats are amazing. I mean, they're sad. On foreign policy, Hillary is trigger happy. She's trigger happy. She's got a bad temperament. By the way, and her husband learned that a few times, didn't he? Bad temperament. No, it's bad temperament. But but she's trigger happy. You look what she did, and look at this. I just wrote this down. Iraq, Libya, she voted. Iraq. Let's go into Iraq. I voted against it, except I was a civilian, so nobody cared. From the beginning, I said it's going to destabilize the Middle East, and Iran will take over Iraq. You know, for years they've been trying to get Iraq, and Iraq has been trying to get Iran. We decimated that country's military, and now the country's a mess. And what we did is we got ISIS, they got oil. Now, Iran, not only did they make a great deal with this total idiot Secretary of State that we have, he's a clown. I'm telling you, he's a clown. He never left the table once. He never left the table once. He's making a deal with the Persians, who are great, great negotiators over history. You know, you hate to generalize. They're great negotiators, okay? I'll be totally politically incorrect. And the Iranians are great negotiators. So he's negotiating with Persians, great negotiators. They're killing him. He should have left. He goes on a bicycle, and he breaks his leg so badly that for 6 months he's out of bed. Can you imagine? This guy, who was 73 years old, he's in a bicycle race. I promise you, I will never be in a bicycle race. I give you my word, okay? I promise. So he had to take like months off, and then finally he hobbles in, and these Iranians are probably saying, you know, the negotiators who are tough cookies, they'll look at him and say, what a jerk. This is a jerk. So anyway, but look at this. Her decisions in Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Libya have cost trillions of dollars, thousands of lives, and have totally unleashed ISIS. Now, thousands of lives, yes, for us, but probably millions of lives, in all fairness, folks, okay? Probably millions. You know, there is another side to this story. Millions of lives, millions. You know, they bomb a city. I watch it. They bomb a city, and you go and you see this city that's obliterated, right? Obliterated. We started this. Obama couldn't get us out properly, but we started this. Now it's a total mess. If nothing would have happened, we would have been far better off than we are now. We spent $4 trillion, but they bomb a city. I'm pretty good at this stuff, and I look, and there's practically nothing. These buildings, 4- or 5-story buildings, are just laying, and they'll say, nobody was killed. Nobody was killed. I'll bet you thousands and thousands of people were killed every time you see that television set. They say, nobody was killed. You know, there is another side to it, okay? And let me tell you something. We've lost thousands of lives, trillions of dollars. Millions of people have been killed. Millions of people have been killed, all told. And what do we have for it? Nothing. If we would have done nothing, I always say, if our presidents had gone to the beach every day of the year 15 years ago, we would have been in much better shape. You'd have Saddam Hussein, who's a bad guy. Somebody, you know, one of these dishonest press. They're the most dishonest human beings in the world. I said, Saddam Hussein killed terrorists, which he did. And the next day they did a story. Donald Trump likes Saddam Hussein. So I always say it differently now. I say, Saddam Hussein, who was a bad guy, a horrible guy, a miserable, horrible human being, right? This way I'm protected from these horrible, yuck, they're disgusting. Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, but Saddam Hussein did something very well. He killed terrorists. Now Iraq is Harvard for terrorism. If you want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. It's Harvard. He used to kill them instantaneously. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, they didn't go through 15 years of a court case. It didn't take them 15 years, and they didn't read the rights. They killed terrorists, all right? You didn't have terrorists. And by the way, in all fairness, the Iraqis did not knock down the World Trade Center, just in case you had any questions. So a lot of bad decisions. A lot of bad decisions. And then you have Obama, shouldn't have been there. Then you have this guy, gets us out. He announces the date on which we're going to leave. He didn't leave anybody behind. Shouldn't have been there. And he didn't take the oil. How long have I been saying take the oil? Because now, who has the oil? Iran is going to have the oil, and ISIS has a lot of it. And then you have Libya, where ISIS has taken over the oil. And the Libyan oil is the best oil. My oil experts tell me this. It's so beautiful. It's up high. It's so beautiful. It's the best quality. You know who has the oil? ISIS has the oil. You have Benghazi. Where was Hillary? You ever see that commercial? Who do you want answering the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning? It was Hillary. She was sleeping. Oh, she was exhausted. She was sleeping. She was sleeping. So here's the story, folks. We're going to change this around. Look at this. Oh, one thing I have to say. Hillary Clinton wants to abolish the Second Amendment. She wants to abolish it. Okay. Hillary Clinton wants to take your guns away, and she wants to abolish the Second Amendment. She wants to take the bullets away. She wants to take it. You tell me that's something we can live with. We're going to cherish the Second Amendment. We're going to take care of the Second Amendment. And Hillary Clinton will appoint anywhere from 4 to 5 judges. You know, it just happens to be that there are a lot of judges. When Scalia died, he was a great judge, great judge. When Scalia died, that was not supposed to happen. He was supposed to be there for another 10, 15 years. That was, a sorry thing that happened. He was a great justice. But when he died, so now you have that. You're going to have 3 and maybe 4 others, so you might have 5 on top of the ones they've appointed over the last 6, 7 years, right? You will have a Supreme Court that will destroy our nation. Destroy our nation. It is so serious. If I win, we're going to put good, solid, brilliant, conservative judges on the court. So Hillary it was just announced that Hillary Clinton is buying $90 million worth of ads, right? Now, I just went through it. I just had 66,000 ads, right? Negative ads. And most of them are false. A couple of them are pretty accurate, actually, but we won't talk about that. I actually, in Florida, big state, great state, 99 delegates, I said, boy, this is rough. Every day I was down there, it was like ad after. They had no other ads except for negative hit jobs on Trump, right? And I told my people, they said, oh, Mr. Trump, you're going to win the state. I said, I don't think so. Well, the polls are showing you way up. I said, it's impossible. It's impossible, because I'm a believer in ads. You know, I used to be. I don't think I am anymore. So every single commercial was a Trump hit. And then I go through Florida, and I win by 20, almost 21 points. It was a massive. There are 67 counties. Of the 67, never been done before, I won 66. Can you believe that? In Florida. Like New York. New York was even better. But like New York. You know what's nice about Florida and New York? They know me there. You don't know me as well. But what you do know is you're smart. New York knows me. They know the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And I had unanimous. I mean, I got almost 100%. I mean, I got almost everything. So the people that know me, this is important for you to know, the people that know me, same thing in Florida, they really know me. It's a place that I'm at a lot. I have a lot of property that's like a second home. And they know me, and I won almost everything. I got every delegate, actually. I got every single, 99 delegates, I got all 99. That's not bad, right? But from your standpoint is, they know me. Now, what we're going to do is we'll talk. I love you too, darling. Who said that? I have to finish. Okay. It's sad to hear this. But so they spent like $100 million and it had no impact. In fact, I almost think these negative ads are positive. We're going to have to look into the whole advertising business. Maybe this. I think if I'm a media company or an advertising company, I'm saying, what's going on? Who knows? Who knows? But I really felt negatively about it because I saw. But Hillary Clinton just ordered $90 million worth of hit ads on Donald Trump. And it's hit ads on Donald Trump and women. And nobody respects women more than I do. Now, think of this. Think of this. Think of this. She's married to a man, and nobody, perhaps in the history of politics, was worse to women or abused women more than Bill Clinton. And she's taking negative ads on me. And I'm like a baby. I'm like a baby. I mean, here's a guy, he was impeached because he lied. He lied. Do you remember the famous, I did not have sex with that woman, and then a couple of months later, I'm guilty. And she's taking negative ads on me. Look, folks, this politics is a dirty business, a dirty game. It's rigged 100%. You look at it, I'm no fan of Bernie Sanders, but take a look at what's happening. He wins, he keeps winning. And then you watch the pundits, most of whom don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they're saying, he's won the last 8 weeks in a row. He has no chance of winning because they have superdelegates. Now, the Republican system is even worse because it's more sophisticated. It's just as bad It's rigged. You notice the way I started talking about rigged 6 weeks ago, right? Everybody's copying my language. Today, Obama copied it in his speech. He's talking about something's rigged. I watched. It's hard to listen to him, to be honest. But I heard the word rigged. They're all using my words. Obama's copying the word rigged. You never heard the word rigged for a long time. I said the system is rigged. And the reason I won the system is I won by so much that there was nothing they could do about it. So, you know, the knockout. It was called the knockout. But the system. But in all fairness, when you look at, and by the way, who thought this was going to happen? Here I am waiting for Hillary, if she's allowed to run. I mean, the big question is, will she get away with the email scandal, okay? Hey, they say the system's rigged. If the system's rigged, she's going to get away with it. Because she's guilty as hell. The question is, are the Democrats going to make it possible for her to run? In a certain way, I hope they do, because I would love to just absolutely beat her. I would. But again, how must you feel if you're Bernie Sanders and you're doing a good job? Again, I am no fan of this guy, okay? But how would you feel if you were him and you're winning all this stuff and you have no chance? And you have no chance. He must have hatred in his heart, you know? He must have hatred. But who would think that we're all watching, we're all Trump, and we're all watching because this was supposed to go on for me for weeks and months, right? Will he get the votes? Obviously, I was going to get the votes so people wouldn't have left. But well, by the way, we had it made. I think we would have ended at about 1,400 or more, okay? And they saw that. I went to West Virginia. We had 40,000, 35,000 people. I don't think there was a person in the audience that wouldn't have voted for Trump because we're going to put the miners back to work. And Hillary Clinton said we're going to put the miners out of business, okay? There's a slight difference. Would you say that's a slight? One's going to put them back to work. The other one said, 4 weeks ago, we're going to put them out of business, okay? Somehow, I think we're going to do better in West Virginia. We had an unbelievable time. So here's the story, folks. We're going to go out. It's so important for you to vote. Send your ballot back. Don't wait till the 24th or the 26th. Just send it back now. Get it back. Make sure you sign it. You know, our senator said, Mr. Trump, make sure they sign the ballot on the back. Make sure they check Republican Party, all that stuff. Okay, you're going to do that. You're like intelligent people, right? But you never know. Because if you don't sign it and if you don't check it, they're not going to count it. All right. So send it back. And then most importantly in November, I'm going to be back here a lot because we can win. We can win. We can win Washington State. We're going to win. We're going to win. You know, I think we're going to win Oregon also. I was in Oregon last night. Who's from Oregon here? Wow, you got a lot of people. I think we're going to win Oregon also. I was there last night. We had an unbelievable crowd in Oregon, too. I think we're going to win a lot of places. You want to know the truth. And a lot of the great Republicans know it, but I'll tell you what. We are going to win so much more than anybody ever. We're bringing in Democrats. We're bringing in independents. And really importantly, you know what we're bringing in? We're bringing in people that have never voted before. It's amazing how many there are. People that never voted before are coming up to me. They're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. They said, Mr. Trump, I've never had anybody that I wanted to vote for before. And we're going to vote. And they have the Trump shirt and everything. We're going to bring, you have no idea how many people that is. People that have never voted before. And we are going to have one of the great victories. You watch. Now the polls are starting to show. They're getting, and the guy who said it, be careful of Trump, because you got 16 people right now that are home watching television that were stars, right? Be careful of Trump. Look, you know, I haven't had a big life of losing, okay? Here's the story, folks. Vote, do your vote, send it back, and then November, I'm going to see you before that, but November, when November comes, you got to stay. I've authorized the senators, just keep your teams together. Could have saved a couple of bucks, come back in 3 months. But I said, for the 3 months, keep your teams together, right, Senator? Better, right? Right? Keep your teams up. We have great teams up here. I said, keep your teams together. I'm not looking to save $3. Keep them together. Get ready for the big push, because in November, we're going to start winning again. And you're going to go to the polls, and you're going to be so proud. Forget about me. You're going to be proud of your country again. You're going to be proud of your country again. And we're going to start winning, winning, winning. We're going to win with our military. We're going to win with our trade deals. We're going to win with education. You better believe it. Such spirit. All over the country, it's this spirit. It's a movement, folks. But we're going to win with education, Common Core out. We're going to win, bring it local. We're going to repeal and replace this horrible Obamacare. We're going to save and cherish our Second Amendment that she wants to get rid of. And we are going to make America great again, maybe greater than ever before. So thank you, everybody. I love you very much. Go home and vote, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
It's incredible. Incredible. Thank you. USA, USA, USA. So I just got back, and one of the big Democrats, I won't tell you who because I don't like to even mention their name, but like one of the biggest said, you better be careful with Trump. There are right now 16 people sitting home watching television, and you better be careful what you wish for because this is going to be brutal. And we're going to win, folks. We're going to win. I can tell you. Look at this crowd. We're going to win. And a poll just came out. A poll just came out, a great poll, that we're leading Hillary Clinton. That's already happening. Already happened. The Rasmussen poll. So, you know, this wasn't supposed to happen today. After we won, I figured, well, maybe I'll stay home and take it a little bit easy. You know, who would have thought this? Trump wins before Clinton. You know why? She can't put the deal away. We can. We know how to close the deal. She can't put it away. She cannot put the deal away. You know, she makes that one speech a week. She'll get up, reads the teleprompter. She goes north and south, east and west. We all love what's happening to our country. But we don't love what's happening to our country. We don't love it. So, but it wasn't supposed to happen because after we won, which was a little unexpected to do it that quickly, but we had such great, incredible victories, those last victories. New York, landslide, won everything. Landslide. And that's with three candidates, almost 62%, but that's with three candidates. You know, these guys that see the press, all those people back there, world's most dishonest people, they're the worst. I wish they'd take the cameras, show them how, look at the size of this place, show them the corner of the room. But there's a lot of people. I don't know how many people here. There's a lot of people. They'll only show if we have a protester, so I hope we have a couple of protesters today. You know, Hillary, Crooked Hillary, yesterday had a protester, and what she did is she cut her speech short. She cut it short. It was from 11 to 13 minutes, depending on who's doing the counting. How would you like to be? Well, here's the thing. You stood on line. We had people standing on line today for 8 hours, always. Always. So they don't have that problem. They just walk up, whatever the time is, and they go in, and they have 250 people, and we have close to 10,000 people today, so it's great. So what I was going to do, and I have to thank, I'll tell you what, Senator Brian Denzel, it's great. And Don Benton, Big Don, they did an incredible job. And what I was going to do is say, look, I'll take it easy. But I asked one question. I said, so in West Virginia, where I was going to go first, that was the first stop, we would have had, I think we would have gotten 95% of the vote. In fact, the miners endorsed Donald Trump. The miners endorsed him and gave me an award, you know, as opposed to Hillary, that she wants to have all miners essentially fired. I don't think she's going to do well in West Virginia in November. And then she went to apologize. You know, those apologies don't work because they know how you really feel, right? So I said, so let me ask you, so West Virginia, should I go there? They said, well, it has been set up, Mr. Trump. You mean people are getting ready? Yes, I'll go. They said, but you don't have to, we can cancel it. I said, no, you don't understand, I'll go. Then I said, what about Oregon? We had an unbelievable thing. And they said, Oregon's been set up. I said, really? It's been set up, done. People, I said, I'll go. I said, what about Nebraska, where you have a great governor, Pete Ricketts, a great guy. I really like him. His family, I don't know about, but we'll find out. I think I might like the family too. I'll probably like the family too. But Governor Ricketts, a great governor, great guy, he introduced me. I said, what about Nebraska? Well, that one's been set up also. Have to go. They said, but you don't have to go. And then we got out here, the state of Washington. The state of Washington. And I said, what about Washington? And they said, well, over there you have two. I said, oh, don't tell me that. I said, have they been set up? Yeah, they've been set up. So I said, I'm going to Washington, folks. I'm going to Washington. But you have to promise me something. On May 24th, you got to go out and vote. And you got to sign the back of those envelopes. You got to put the little thing. If you don't sign, your vote's not going to count. Because right now, we just about surpassed every presidential nominee, every presidential candidate in the history of the Republican primaries. We have more votes. Millions and millions of votes. And you know, they went through the whole nation. We still have quite a few left, all right? So we won it a little bit early. But we want to win by a big mandate. We want to win by a big, big number. So I really appreciate you being here today, especially to have, and look, they're pouring in still. I really appreciate you being here today, but I guarantee I'll be back numerous times because we are going to take the state of Washington. We are. We're going to take it. We're going to bring our jobs back. I'm looking at your numbers. Not good. Look at this. Spokane region has lost nearly 1/3 of its manufacturing jobs. I do this. These are statisticians. The world's most boring job. How would you like to be a statistician? But you know what? The man that does it, he loves it. He thinks it's great. Lost 1/3 of its manufacturing jobs since Bill Clinton successfully lobbied to put China in the World Trade Organization. Not a good move. Not a good move. The labor force in Spokane, the labor force is 9,000 people smaller today than it was when Obama took office in 2009. Not good. Not good. The number of timber jobs, I love timber. Few people use more timber than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. Few people. The number of timber jobs in the state of Washington has been cut in half since 1990. Come on, fellas, let's get with it. What's wrong with you? No, I know what's wrong. I mean, look, everyone's taking it away from us, but we're bringing it back. You know, I always say, it's amazing the crowds I get, because we always have crowds like this. We have 35,000. We had 45,000. We have a very great musician. You know, a writer said to me, "Make America Great Again" is not a very positive message. I said, you have to understand, that's the most positive message. That's the most positive message. Because right now our country is doing poorly. We're losing our jobs. We're losing manufacturing. We're losing our money. I go around, I look at these statistics. They are a disaster, okay? They're a disaster. All over the country, they're a disaster. Is this guy on our side or not? Let me see. Huh? You on our side? Are you on our side? Okay, put your hand down then, will you? Guy's got his hand up, and everybody's pointing. I think he's lying. Is he lying when he says yes? Are you on our side? Huh? Out. Out. Get out of here. All right. I think he's a Bernie person. Bernie's going down because, hey, look. It is a crooked system. It is a crooked system. And I'm not a fan of Bernie, but he's a member of a crooked system. All right, let's go. You can let him stay there for a little longer. I think he's got some problems. Got some little problems here. All right, get him out. Get him out. Get out. Out. Oh, you know the good news? The cameras have now pointed. They can see the crowd. We love it. I love protesters. Don't we have a protester someplace like in the back? Those cameras, they twist like pretzels. Otherwise, they just stay in my face. My wife said, was the crowd large today? I said, you didn't see it? No, they never take it off your face. Oh, boy. Okay. Illegal immigration costs Washington State $2.7 billion a year. Illegal. We will build a wall, folks. We are going to do it right. We are going to do it right. We're going to build a wall. Wow. You've received a large influx of refugees and Syrian refugees. You have no idea where they come from, folks. Lots of luck. Hey, folks, lots of luck. Lots of luck. Good luck. Who the hell knows? They have no paperwork. They have no documentation. They have no anything. And you know what? We should take care of them. I'll get the Gulf states that have so much money, you wouldn't believe it. I'm good at getting people to put up money. Believe me, they'll put up money. And we build safe zones in Syria. We don't want them here. We don't know who they are. We don't know who they are. And take a look at what's happening in Europe. It's a mess. Look at what's happening in Germany. Look at what's happening all over Europe. It's a mess. And we don't need it. Our country has enough problems right now, okay? Hate to say it. And we want to help, and we want to do something. Although I will say, when you look at that migration, you see so many young, strong men. Does anyone notice that? Am I the only one? Young, strong men. And you almost say, like, why aren't they back fighting? But you don't see that many women and children, right? So you're saying, what are we doing? Who are the people coming over, and why don't they have documentation? We can't be the stupid country anymore, folks. We can't be the stupid country anymore. All right. The Clintons gave us NAFTA, right? They gave us NAFTA. Probably the worst piece of legislation having to do with business and economic development ever signed in the history of our country. It has wiped out New England. It's wiped out New York State. It's wiped out Pennsylvania. And I've got to know these places so well because we've had these massive victories. And I go up to Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, New York. I go all over. And I see empty factory after empty factory. You could buy them for $2. And how sad is it? And they move to Mexico. And China takes our jobs. And believe me, folks, it's going to change so fast. It's going to be like, it's going to change so fast. It's so easy. We're not going to let it happen. And I'll tell you how it's going to change. I'll tell you how it's going to change, but I have to do a couple of things because I happen to love a certain guy in the room. I love certain people, even guys. This is a guy who's been great. I have to do it. But before May 24th, you got to do it because we're sending a signal, okay? This is a movement. This isn't like normal. Bill O'Reilly said on his show, it's the single greatest political event that he's seen in his lifetime. What's happened with Trump, and he doesn't want to say that. And other people have said the same thing, many people, and it's a movement. So you have to vote. And the nice part, all you have to do, you don't even have to vote. You just have to send back the envelope, right? So they're going to be arriving in your beautiful homes today. And if you will, do the check, do the signature, do whatever you have to do, send them back. Let's have a really big victory here to keep it going, okay? May 24th. So I want to thank Steve Edman. That was a good athlete. Where's Steve? Where the hell is Steve? Steve, man, were you good. You used to kill our team, Steve. That's no good. Look at the size of this guy. Thank you, Steve, very much. I appreciate it. Great, great guy, great reputation, too. I have to talk about Coach Leach, right? Should I talk about him? Do we like Coach Leach? So I watched 60 Minutes. This is quite a while ago. And he was at Texas Tech. And he was beating everybody, right? He was beating everybody. What do I know? I don't have enough time to watch this stuff closely, but I like champions. Hey, Bobby Knight in Indiana endorsed me. I don't know how many points it meant, but I won Indiana in a big fat landslide. And I love Bobby Knight. So I read the New York Times, a cover story on the New York Times Magazine. I don't think they've ever had a football coach ever in the history of the magazine on the cover of this elite New York Times Magazine. And I see this guy, and it's Mike Leach. I didn't know him. I just was amazed that they put a football coach. But he was having this incredible season, beating everybody, and he's on the cover of the magazine. And I look inside, there's a big statement. Who do you most like? Who do you most admire? It's Donald Trump. So immediately I love this guy, right? No, I love him. I love him. Then I see him, he's at Texas Tech, and where's Coach Leach? Where the hell is he? Coach Leach! You don't mind if I talk about our relationship, right? He's a great coach, great guy too, great family. And I did this with Bobby Knight. And we also had Lou Holtz. We had some tremendous people endorse us. But Coach Leach was interesting because I didn't know him at all. Then he's on 60 Minutes. They do a profile. Who the hell ever saw a profile on 60 Minutes of a coach from Texas Tech? And what happens is the coach is beating everybody, and he's on the cover. And I see the New York Times, then I see 60 Minutes. I said, man, this guy must be a hell of a coach, right? Boy, you're lucky to have him. Okay. And I see a picture of myself. He's on 60 Minutes. And I'm looking and I'm watching, falling asleep, okay? And I'm watching. And I see a picture of me on his desk. Don't worry, there was a picture of his wife also, who's great. But there's a picture of me on his desk. I said, this guy really likes me. The Times, this guy, I don't know who the hell he is, but he really likes me. So I actually put in a call to him, and I became sort of phone friends. I said, Coach, good luck. Anybody, my attitude, when people like me, I like them. Even Putin, Putin, they want me to disavow Putin. Putin of Russia, he said, Trump is a genius, he'll be the next leader. Don't worry, he's not getting anything, but they wanted me to disavow the statement. He said, Trump is a genius, he'll be the next leader of the United States. And these characters, these characters that I was debating, they wanted me to disavow that statement. I said, I'll never disavow that statement. He's not going to get anything from it, but we'll see. And by the way, wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along with Russia? Wouldn't that be nice? So anyway, so I'm looking at this thing, and then all of a sudden, he wins again. And then he has this massive game against, I think it was Texas, right? And Texas is this incredible team that's just beating everybody, the last great year that they had. And here's Coach Leach with Texas Tech. And who wins? And I took more heat by backing your team. I'm saying Coach Leach is going to win. I didn't even know. But boy, I'll tell you, that Texas team was pretty popular, Coach. I took a lot of heat. But at least I'm backing the Texas team. So what happens? That great catch, right? And he ends up winning the game. And everyone said Trump is a genius. Isn't that great? I was the only one that said Texas Tech is going to win. And honestly, I don't think they treated him great. Okay, I'll be honest. Am I allowed to say that? Yes. Even if he says no, I don't think they treated him great. He's this great coach. He's a genius, an offensive genius. They didn't treat him great. And he wanted to go to a particular school. He said, Mr. Trump, if I ever get to be coach of that school, I'll never lose a game. Because that school gets the best athletes. I don't want to say what school, because the person that heads it, I know. I said, Coach, don't worry about it. I know the person. No problem. I called the person, and they had such respect for me that they didn't hire him. They hired somebody else. Right? And you know what happened? That football program went to hell. It went to hell. I don't even talk to that person anymore because I said, I'm giving a good thing. And it was a little embarrassing. Coach, don't worry about it. I got you covered, Coach. You're all set. And it's true. And if he would have gone to that school, you know what I'm talking about, the guy maybe never would have lost a game because they get the best athletes. It's like in Texas. Texas seems to get these great athletes, right? So he ends up coming out here to the Cougars, right? Washington State Cougars. Oh, did you get... I hope they take good care of him because you're doing great. He's a real popular guy out here. But I have to tell you, he's a hell of a coach, and I haven't seen him in a long time. And then today I heard he was introducing me, and I was very honored by it. But I'll tell you, you've got yourself a great coach. And, Coach, how's the football team going to be this year? Good? He says good. That means good. Your quarterback is good? Huh? Okay. With him, you don't even need a good quarterback. He knows what to do. So anyway, congratulations. And, Coach, thank you for introducing. That's really nice. Coach Leach, everybody. So we have a lot of work to do. It's been an amazing period because on June 16th, I announced I was going to run. And the Bobby Knight coaching story is interesting because he called me before I announced and he said, and I don't know him, but now I know him. But Bobby Knight said, Mr. Trump, you got to run. You got to run. Yeah, he's a tough cookie. Would you say Bobby's slightly tough? Okay, slightly, just slightly. You know, the chair goes across, it's bang, you know, it's a little old school. That's okay, that's what we need. We need a little old school, folks. We need a little old school. He's a rough guy. No, but he's rough, but he's smart, and he knows how to win. That's what we need. Not just rough and not just smart. You need the whole thing. You can't be rough and not smart. You can't be smart and not a leader and tough, but he knows how to win. So he calls me up, he goes, you know, I analyze talent. And you'll be an unbelievable president. You're what we need. Not these clowns. They're clowns. I remember he used the name. They're clowns. I said, Coach, I'll tell you what. I haven't made a decision yet. This was 3 months before the June 16th. I said, I haven't made a decision yet, Coach, but I'll call you, and I appreciate it. Give me your number, Coach. So I took his number. I put it down at the bottom of a big pile of stuff, and that was it. Now I start winning, and I go out. And I saw this morning when I announced these pundits who don't have the brains they were born with, by the way. Charles Krauthammer, he will not run. Donald Trump will not run. And if he does, he is running against the finest field of talent in the history of the Republican Party. Bing, 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 bing. 16 of the most talented politicians ever to run. Ever to run. And if Donald Trump, who I don't know, but if Donald Trump runs, he will have no chance. This is the most talented field ever assembled by the Republican Party. In fact, he almost talked me out of it. I watched that, and I was thinking about running. And I watched Charles Krauthammer say, most talented field of people in the history of the Republican. And I said to my wife, this is going to be tough, right? I didn't know that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Don't forget, Krauthammer is the one, we've got to go to Iraq, and we've got to fight for years, fight. We should have never gone to Iraq. One of the worst decisions ever made. Okay, so what happens is I say, look, I don't care, because I see what's happening. You have this guy, Secretary Kerry, doesn't know what he's doing, makes the worst deal in history for this country, makes one of the worst deals. We had a couple. One of the worst things ever to happen to our country going to Iraq, and one of the worst deals we ever made was the Iran deal. Give them $150 billion. We get nothing. We don't even get our prisoners back until we give them the money. I mean, think of it. It's like a ransom for $150 billion. Those deals aren't going to happen with me, folks, okay? Believe me. Believe me. So I listened to these guys talking about how strong the field of Republicans is. Jeb Bush had raised $168 million in a super PAC, right? Other guys had raised, and I'm self-funding. I self-fund, so I'm self-funding. So what happens is I decide, you know what? I can't take it. I'm going to go out, and we're going to run, and we're going to make this country so great again. It's got such unbelievable potential. So I go out and I announce, right? And now I get to know the people. And by the way, some of them are very talented. Do you notice the way how much nicer I am right now? When you win, everybody's talented, right? Except Jeb Bush, frankly. He's got no talent because he says bad things about me. You know, he signed a pledge. They all wanted me to sign. They thought I'd run independent. They all wanted me to sign a pledge. I said, I'll sign a pledge. A pledge means something. Jeb Bush, very low energy individual, signed a pledge. While he was signing it, he fell asleep. So maybe that's his excuse. No. The only reason I speak badly about him is he speaks badly about me. Like, I'll give you an example. Rick Perry has said great things about me. He said, he endorsed me. Most of them have endorsed me. But Jeb Bush, no. And Lindsey Graham, this is a lightweight like I have never seen. This guy. He runs. He was at 6, right? He was at 6. He runs every week. He's down 5, 4, 3%, right? And ultimately, because of me, he was forced out. And when we went to South Carolina, he thought he'd have power in South Carolina. My son Barron, who's 10 years old, had far more power than he did. So he was like at 1%. I was at, I think, 48%. And I said, this guy's this. Okay, it doesn't matter. Here's what happened. He got wiped out. Now he goes and endorses another guy. He's out. He makes a fool out of himself. Poorly represents the people of South Carolina. But here's the problem in politics. The people have a short memory. Most people forget that he was even in the race. So we knocked him out, you remember. So now he goes on television. Donald Trump doesn't have the temperament. I have the best temperament of all. I'm the one that didn't want to go into the Iraq war, okay? And by the way, somebody said Donald Trump, his tone is tough. Tone, my tone. Crooked Hillary said, his tone. They're chopping off heads in the Middle East. They're drowning people in steel cages in the Middle East. And they're worried about my tone. We need a tough tone, folks. We need a tough tone. Believe me, we need a tough tone. We better have a tough tone. And we better get tough fast. Vigilant, tough, smart, build up our military. We better do it fast. So anyway, this total lightweight, I've never seen a guy do more television. He's constantly on television. Lindsey Graham, a total dope. And he's constantly on television. No, knocking me. Always not. I said, wait a minute. Now, he signed a pledge. And the pledge says, we will guarantee you're going to endorse everything else. I signed it. So Jeb Bush is not an honorable person. Lindsey Graham is not an honorable person. Because when you sign a pledge, that's supposed to mean something, right? It didn't mean anything. But the good news is most everybody has endorsed me, other than Paul Ryan. I don't know what went wrong there, Paul Ryan. But we'll see. And here's the thing, folks. Look, we've brought millions of people into this party. It's the highest vote the party has ever gotten. I'm the highest individual in history. Millions and millions of people. In fact, it's the biggest story in politics today worldwide. We're on the cover of Time magazine so much. I've been on like 4 times in a fairly short period of time. I've been on twice in my whole life. And now I'm on like, if I'm not on, I say, am I on the cover of Time this week? I'm on like all the time. But it's not me that's on, it's you that's on. I'm the messenger. I'm representing you people, and we're doing a hell of a job, okay? We're doing a hell of a job. We're all on the cover of Time magazine. We're all on the cover of Time. So here's the story. So we're going to go out, and we're going to do great. I think Paul Ryan will be fine, and if he's not, that's okay. You know, a couple of people said it really from Trump's standpoint. I said the only thing that matters to me is all of these millions of people that have signed up. That's what matters to me. And you know, we got here through strength. We didn't get here through weakness. We want strong borders, right? We want a strong military. We have to have a strong military. And that doesn't mean we have to use our military. The stronger we make it, the less we're going to have to use it. I'll tell you what, it's the single cheapest investment we can make is our strong military. When General Ordiano, nice guy, about a year ago, he was leaving and he was being interviewed. And by the way, I don't want my generals on television being interviewed. I don't want it. Let them be generals. Do you think General George Patton was interviewed? Yes. We're going to strike the enemy from the front. And then 2.5 days later, we're going to strike them back here. And then on May 29th, we're going to drop some bombs. In the meantime, the enemy turns out to be 10 times tougher than we thought because they know our plan. We have to be unpredictable, folks. We have to be unpredictable. Oh, it's so sad. I can just imagine guys like General George Patton, General MacArthur, you know, these great generals that we've had over the years. They're spinning in their grave. You know, a little while ago, President Obama announced that he's sending 50 men to Iraq. And he's sending 200 men. And he gets up, does a news conference. We're sending 50 men to Iraq, Syria. Now, guess what? First of all, the number's so small, it's like only 50. But these are really elite people. Here's the problem. When you do that, they have a target on their back, right? They have a target on their back. And those people are being hunted right now. So keep your mouth shut. Send them if you want to send them. But just keep your mouth shut. You know, don't talk. Don't talk. Politicians, they're all talk, no action. I guarantee you Bobby Knight would not be talking about it. Coach Leach would not be talking about it. They get the job done, folks. They get the job done. So here's what we do. So we are going to change things so rapidly. We have we have a ways to go. You have Hillary, who's taken $90 million. Now think of this. She's taken, and I would imagine things will be okay with Paul Ryan. We'll see. I'm meeting him on Thursday. We're going to see what happens. He wants to meet. We're going to see what happens. If he wants to meet, I'll meet. But the important thing is you folks, okay? And he'll understand that. And he does understand that. And I would bet if he had that decision to do again, he would have done it the simple way. I endorse Trump, okay? Do you agree with that? Well, it's only one of my volunteers saying that, but that's okay. My volunteer is a smart cookie, right? But we're going to do things that are going to be incredible in this country. Hillary, though, took $90 million. You know, she's got money from all these special interests all over the place. And she's going to win because the system's so rigged. Even though Bernie wins, got no superdelegates. You know, the Republican system is rigged, but I did it by overwhelming odds. Like, you know, I won by so much. You know, it's like the prize fighters when they knock somebody out. I won by so much that there was nothing they could do. The bosses couldn't do anything. So we won big league, big league. I mean, those last 8 states have been incredible. Indiana, why? I mean, that was going to be the firewall, Indiana. They were going to beat me and turn me back, coach, in Indiana. But it didn't quite work out that way. We won Indiana in a landslide. We won with women. We won with women. We won with men. The men I don't care about, but we won with women in a landslide. But we won with evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with the military. We won with the vets. We won with everybody. This was going to be the firewall. So that's the story. So what happened is now the nice part is now we're focusing on crooked Hillary Clinton. And I think we're going to do very well. But here's the thing. She's going to have $2 billion. $2 billion. They've already taken $90 million worth of ads. And they're ads women-oriented. You know, she's playing the women's card. By the way, if she didn't play the women's card, she would have no chance. I mean, zero of winning. She's playing the women's card. She's going, did you hear that Donald Trump raised his voice while speaking to a woman? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, all of the men, we're petrified to speak to women anymore. We may raise our voice. You know what? The women get it better than we do, folks. All right? They get it better than we do. If she didn't play that card, she has nothing. So here's what happens, and this is sort of amazing to me. So they go out, and I looked at $90 million, right? And she's going to play like the women card. And Megyn Kelly, nice woman, she came up to my office. She came to me, she called me, and I respect her for doing it. I'm not saying this in any way. I respect her for doing it. I said nothing wrong to her. They would say, what he said to Megyn, I didn't say anything. Remember what I said, the statement? Blood coming out of her eyes, and blood coming out of, oh, whatever. And I wasn't referring, Only these dirty-minded people back here. I was talking about ears, nose, but you know what? I wanted to get on with the conversation because I think I was talking economic development. I didn't want to waste any more time. Someone said, they said, did you hear what Donald Trump said? I didn't say anything. These are bad people. They make a big deal out of it, just so you understand. So here's the story. So they're taking, and then they're critical because I speak about Rosie O'Donnell. Who the hell wouldn't speak badly about Rosie O'Donnell? She's terrible. She's terrible. And then if I did like a Howard Stern show from 10 years ago, you have to understand, folks, until a year ago, I was never going to be a politician. The last thing in the world I wanted to be doing is this. So if I go on Howard Stern show, we have fun. And I've been with politicians, and I've seen politicians on the air saying, not about me, about other people, that was horrible what that man said about women. Or that was horrible what that man said about Hispanics or African Americans. And I see these people. But I see one guy the other day saying how bad somebody said, it's like nothing, how bad it was about women, right? He said, that was a horrible thing. I've been with this guy. The way he talks about women is so bad. It's so, in fact, I think, should I report him, women? Should I report him? I should report him. But anyway, so they act like, oh, look, folks, here's the story. There is nobody that was worse, nobody, than Bill Clinton with women, okay? Nobody. Now, in the history of politics, Hillary Clinton's husband abused women more than any man that we know of in the history of politics, right? Now, she's going to buy $90 million worth of ads about Donald Trump, right? $90 million, and that's only the first go. They've got $2 billion. They're going to have $2 billion to spend. They're going to spend $90 million on bad ads about me having to do with women. There is nobody that respects women more than I do, I will tell you right now. And every one of these last contests, I'm winning with women in landslides. My daughter, Ivanka, has anyone ever heard of Ivanka? Says, I don't get it, Dad. You respect and treat women better than any man I know. My daughter, she doesn't even understand it. But it's politics, folks. But here's the thing. Two can play that game. So they're taking $90 million worth of phony ads, and some of this was said for entertainment you know, one of them was said like on The Apprentice, right? Brandy. And they called Brandy. What do you think? Oh, I don't even remember it. That's what Brandy. You remember Brandy from they called Brandy, who's a terrific person. What do you think? I don't even remember that. No, I think it's fine. It's great. What's the big deal? They make it sound, look, folks, we're living in the real world. This political correctness is killing our country, okay? It's killing our country. But here's the thing. Now, when Rosie, you play guilt, who the hell would not, how can you say good about Rosie O'Donnell? She's a disaster, okay? So here's the story. Just remember, she's going to do it, I'm going to play the same game, but I don't have to spend $90 million on ads. She's married to a man who was the worst abuser of women in the history of politics. She's married to a man who hurt many women, and Hillary, if you look and you study, Hillary hurt many women, the women that he abused. She's married to a man who got impeached for lying. He was impeached, and he had to go through a whole big process, and it wasn't easy. He was impeached for lying about what happened with a woman. And she's going to take ads about little Donald Trump? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay? I don't think so. And Hillary was an enabler, and she treated these women horribly. Just remember this. And some of those women were destroyed not by him, but by the way that Hillary Clinton treated them after everything went down. So just remember that, folks. So just remember that when you're watching these phony ads put out by Hillary Clinton. Just remember, when you're watching these phony, paid for by Wall Street ads put out by Hillary Clinton about Donald Trump, and just remember I said it, there is nobody that has more respect for women than me. There is nobody, or certainly very few, that have promoted women within my big company than I have, okay? I have women, frankly, I shouldn't say this because the men are going to get angry, but I have women that make more money than men doing a comparable job. Men, am I okay saying that? And they're fantastic. And you know what I find with women? They want to see strength. They want strength on the borders. They want a strong military. They don't want people walking all over our country. They want to see Common Core ended, and they want education to be brought locally. And she doesn't want to do that. She wants to get rid of all the miners. She wants to fire the miners. She wants to keep wages low. We're going to have wages that are going to be great. We're going to have wages that are going to go up because we're going to have so many businesses coming back into this country. We're going to bring our businesses back. If you look at Carrier Air Conditioner, one of the reasons I won Indiana in a landslide, aside from Bobby Knight with that great endorsement, that was a great endorsement, is because I talked about Carrier. But I wasn't talking about Carrier for 2 days. I've been talking about it for 4 months, ever since I saw it. And it didn't matter that it was Indiana. It just happened to be that it was an important... They left Indianapolis. They're going to Mexico. And I said, can't do that. Can't do it. We're losing all our companies. We're losing our companies, folks. Our companies. Look at your numbers. I mean, you have numbers, but you're down 50%. You're down 42%. You're down 9,000 people smaller today. The labor force here is down 9,000 people smaller today than it was in 2009. That's not even a long time ago. I mean, give me a break. We're losing our businesses. Other companies are taking our businesses like they're candy from a baby. It's not going to happen. And just quickly, and I'm sure you've heard it, whether it's Ford, they're building a $2.5 billion plant in Mexico, closing plants all over Michigan and other places. They're building this massive plant in Mexico. They just announced that now they're going to build even more, because you know what happened when they announced 2 years ago that they're building this plant? 2 years ago, nobody went to see them. Nobody said, what the hell are you doing? And nobody said, don't ever do it again. They didn't. Nobody talked to them. I'm the only one that brings it up all the time. That's why I won Michigan, right? I won Michigan. I won Illinois. I won all these states. The reason I win them is I'm the one that understands what's happening. I'm endorsed by Carl Icahn. I'm endorsed by the great business leaders because they know I know what the hell I'm doing. These politicians, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So you have these dummies, they like to consider themselves, they say the elite, the elite. I'm not elite? Really? I'm not elite. I went to a better school than they did. I'm smarter than they are. I'm not elite. They say the elite, they don't like because they want to see free trade. I want free trade too. See, I'm a free trader. But you can't have free trade when you have stupid people doing the negotiation, okay? You can't. You can't. Because we are being beaten on every front. And you can't do it. We owe, I'll tell you what, trade deficit with China. $505 billion a year. Who makes a deal like that? And then they say, oh, we're going to end up with a trade war. Trade war? When you're losing $505 billion, maybe that's a damn good thing, have a trade war. I mean, think of it. Mexico, $58 billion a year. We have a, and that doesn't include all the drugs that are pouring in. That's exclusive of the drugs. We're building the wall. Don't even think about it. The wall's getting built, 100%. The wall is getting built. The wall is getting built, and it's going to be very high and very beautiful. It's going to be a high wall and a beautiful wall. All right, are you ready? Who's going to pay for the wall? Boy, I've never heard anybody say, hey, let me think about that one. It's like, by the way, 100%. And think of it this way. So we have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion. When I had people standing behind me, meaning the debates, right? I never debated before. That was the one thing I didn't know. How would I debate? According to the polls, Drudge, according to Time Magazine, all of the polls, every single poll for every single debate that I participated had me #1 in the debates. Is that good? I never did. I look so forward to debating this crooked politician. I look so forward. whose husband signed NAFTA, which was the worst trade bill ever, okay, ever. And by the way, now they want another one, Trans-Pacific Partnership. You better be against it, folks, because I understand it. It's 6,000 pages. I guarantee you that nobody from our side has read it, and everybody over there, they know every single comma, every single sentence and paragraph. And just like Obamacare, this bill was so massive, it turned out that it was a fraud. Remember the guy that did the bill? And he said how he buffaloed everybody? Well, Obamacare is crashing. You know, in 17, isn't it just my luck? I become president, and before I practically take office, Obamacare, look, he's not as stupid as you think, folks. Remember this. He didn't put it, no. He could have had it earlier. He could have had it crash during his term. All of the costs come, and all of the big numbers come in 17. And it's going to be a disaster for our country, a disaster. But here's the problem, and here's the good news. We're going to repeal it and replace it before that ever happens, all right? It's a disaster. Your rates are going up 25, 35, 45%. So we're going to get rid of TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. And you know, they don't cover the most important element, monetary manipulation. They devalue their currency, and they're killing our companies because our companies can't compete when they devalue. That's how China beats us. We have unbelievable manufacturers. Mostly, I mean, half of them are gone now. They're gone. But we don't even discuss the valuation and devaluation of their currencies in the bill. Nobody wants to put it in because they're all controlled by their super PACs, by their donors. They're all controlled by these companies, and nobody wants to put the single biggest threat that they have is the devaluation threat of their money, of their financing. Nobody wants to discuss it, and it's the single biggest threat, monetary devaluation. That's how they kill us, and it's not even in the document. We've got to stop it, because NAFTA was a disaster. Remember this, NAFTA was a disaster. This is going to be worse. This is going to be worse, especially for a place like this. This is going to be worse. So we will stop it. We will stop it. Let me just finish off. So carrier, what I do, and I want to do it myself. I'll have a lot of smart people because everybody smart wants to work. We're not going to have political hacks negotiating with China anymore. We're going to have our smartest people and our best business people, and we have the best in the world, all right? We have the best in the world. So here's what we're going to do. So I insist. You know, my wife always says, you shouldn't be calling carrier. You should be presidential. You know what? Don't let me be, I love Melania too. Don't let me be too presidential, folks. Because you look at what our presidents do. They take it nice and easy. They fly to Hawaii to play golf for a few weeks in a big jet. They then come back in an old 747 spewing. And then they talk about the carbon footprint as being very badly hurt. He just left. He just flew to Hawaii to play golf. He's talking about the carbon footprint. Phony politicians, folks. Phony politicians. So, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Don't worry. He's a nice guy. That guy's on our side. I always say, enemy or foe? Foe or friend? Is he a friend? He's a friend. He's a loud friend, but that's okay. He's a loud friend, but we love our loud friends. Folks, we are going to start winning again. We lose in every way. We lose in every way. With carrier as an example, I'm going to say, here's a story. You leave Indiana, and I'm going to charge you 35% tax for every single air conditioning unit that you make and sell across a now very strong border. 100%. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to call the lobbyists. They're going to call their friends and the donors and the owners of the company, public company, and they're going to call everybody, and they're going to call me. I won't take their calls because, you know, they didn't give me anything, okay? And they're going to call back the following day, and they're going to say, Mr. President, we're going to stay in Indiana. And we're going to say, and that's just an example. Now, if they've already left, same thing, sorry. And either they're moving back, or we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to make a lot of money. We're going to make a lot of money. They let go 1,400 good people. So, and I don't mind if they moved. If they move to the state of Washington, I think that's great. That's competition, okay? They can move anywhere they want. But when they start leaving our country and thinking they're going to make product and they're going to send it to us and we have no tax. In Nebraska yesterday, Governor Ricketts was terrific. I said, let me ask you, how do you do with Japan? He said, well, it's tough because they charge us a tariff for meat, for beef, of big beef area. They charge us a tariff, I didn't know this, 38%. So they send the cars in by the millions, and we're the dummies. You go out to Los Angeles, you see ships, the biggest ships you've ever seen, loaded up with hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of cars, and they're docking one after another, and cars are just pouring off these ships, right? They pay almost no tax. And yet, with Nebraska, that sends beef to Japan, I said, do you have to pay a tax? Yes, we pay a 38% tariff. 38%! I never knew that. I never knew that. Now, that's on top of the fact that in terms of balance, the cars far outweigh. You know, the cars are up to the ceiling and what the beef is down there. In other words, the balance is so off, right? I will take care of that situation so fast. In one day, that situation will be equalized. One day, okay? And we have many. China sends its stuff over, no tax. You want to do business with China? Number one, it's almost impossible. If you're a manufacturer, it's almost impossible to get your goods into China. If you get them, and they don't want them. They're right. They want their own people to make them. They don't want them. But if they get them in, you're going to pay a massive tax. A friend of mine did that recently. He had a deal, calls me up, wasn't even thinking about me doing this. He said, boy, do I have a problem. This China's impossible. I can't get my stuff in. Finally, I get in there charging me this massive tax. But they send their stuff in. It's like, I'm telling you, folks, we are being led by incompetent people. That's why we have a trade deficit. That's why we have a trade deficit of $505 billion a year. Okay, so here's the story. I love China. I have a lot of friends in China. The largest bank in the world is my tenant in one of my buildings in Manhattan. Their rent is good, believe me. This bank is so big. It's the largest in the world by far. I have them as a tenant. They like me. They respect me. I just renewed their lease. I said, are they going to renew? Really? You think? The way I talk about them. But they respect it. They actually respect it. China, I'm not angry at them. I sell condos to their people. I own the Bank of America building in San Francisco with a group. I own buildings in Manhattan. I got at war with China. That was war. It wasn't like we did a friendly deal. It was an unfriendly deal. I end up with a big chunk of the Bank of America building, one of the nicest buildings, one of the big buildings and nice buildings. I have nothing against China. I think they're great. I have nothing. I'm angry. I have nothing against Mexico. I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I have thousands of Hispanics that work for me. And I'm going to bring back thousands of jobs. And the Hispanics are smart. And they know I'm going to bring back. I love the Hispanics. I love them. But just so you understand, I have nothing against Mexican leadership. I'm angry at our leadership for not doing the same thing to these countries, okay? I don't blame China. I don't blame Japan. I don't blame Mexico. I don't blame Vietnam or India or any of these countries that do so well with us. I blame our corrupt and very stupid leadership, folks. All right? It's corrupt and it's stupid. So we're going to make the greatest trade deals that you've ever seen. We're going to get our jobs back. And you know what? Here's the funny thing. China doesn't like us. We've rebuilt China. China is the greatest theft. It's the greatest theft in the history of mankind, what they've done to this country. We have rebuilt China. They have trains that go 250 miles an hour. We have trains that go 40. Chunk. The Long Island Railroad. It's the same as it was. It's the same as it was when I was growing up on Long Island a long time ago. I won't tell you how long ago. It's too long. But listen, so we're like a debtor nation, which we are. We're going to be $21 trillion very soon. We're like a debtor nation, but we're like a third world nation. You look at our airports, our roads. You look at our highways, our bridges, our tunnels, they're dangerous. Our hospitals. But you take a look at other people. You go to Dubai and Qatar and these places, and you take a look at their airports. You go to China. You look at some of these airports. It's the most incredible thing you've ever seen. And then you land at LaGuardia, and they have potholes all over the place. Okay? we're going to rebuild. We've got to rebuild. We've got to restructure. We've got to do things that are going to be incredible for us. We have to fix our country. We've spent $4 trillion plus in the Middle East. And we're right now in much worse shape than if we never did anything. If we never did anything, if our presidents went to the beach for 365 days a year, we would right now be in better shape in the Middle East. Where we've gone is we've spent $4 trillion and we've regressed. Now we have the migration, we have ISIS, we have total instability. We have Iran is becoming this power. We've made them a power. And not only did they make a good deal with this idiot that we have, John Kerry, he's an idiot to make a deal like that. He never once walked from the negotiation. When they were standing and they were saying, we're walking, he would say, please don't walk. Okay? And you know, the Persians, the Iranians are great negotiators. The Persians are great. But never once did John Kerry walk. He should have walked a lot. First of all, he should have never gone there unless we got our prisoners back first, okay? He should have said, you're not giving them back? Then you double up the sanctions, and you'll have your prisoners back in 24 hours, and that would have been years ago, not just recently, okay? So anyway, but he is grossly incompetent. He's grossly incompetent. He did not read The Art of the Deal, that I can tell you. But he's grossly incompetent. And for Obama to allow it, when they're dancing in the streets all over Iran, I don't want people dancing when I'm making a deal. If I'm making a deal and I have people dancing, I'm going to say, let's take a look at this deal. I don't want to look foolish. They made us look so foolish. And that's why I ran. Because we're going to have a strong country again. We're going to have a country, they're not going to be dancing. You take a look at China. We've rebuilt China, and they don't respect us. Look what they're doing in the South China Sea. They're building a military fortress in the ocean. Now, we couldn't do that because we'd want to get environmental impact statements, right? You know what they said? I have a lot of friends from China. I said, how long did it take you to get your environmental impact statements approved? I said that kidding. He said, you're kidding, right? I said, I am. He said, no. They agreed to do the deal on a Friday evening. Construction started on Monday morning, okay? To be honest with you, that's the way it should be, folks, okay? With us, we would go years and years and years. We're hurting a tadpole. We're hurting a certain kind of fish. You know what they're doing now? They have the biggest excavators you've ever seen. They're ripping the hell out of the ocean, and they're dumping it. By the way, it doesn't hurt the ocean. It doesn't hurt the ocean. You know how big the ocean is? So they're building this massive fortress in the South China Sea, and yet they take all our money. Do you know that we owe China $1.8 trillion right now? Think of it. They take our jobs, they take our money, they rebuild their country with our money, and we owe them $1.8 trillion. It's like a magic act in reverse, okay? We owe Japan, they sell us all the cars. We owe Japan $1.5 trillion. So here's the story, folks. We're not going to be the stupid people, the stupid country. You're going to have the smart people now. And we're going to have a country that you're going to be proud of. Now, here's what you have to do. You have to go. Remember the date. Remember the date. May 24th. But do it immediately. Don't wait. Go home. You're going to have it, hopefully, sitting in your mailbox. Okay? Because you don't have to go. Send that thing in. Because we want those votes. Doesn't take, you don't even have to go out and vote in your case. Most people at least have to go out. I don't know what the hell kind of a system you have here. You don't even have to leave your house. Check the back of the envelope and sign it. Do what you have to do. Don't just send it. But here's the story, folks. You're going to consider that vote, and you're going to consider the vote you make in November to be the most important vote you've ever made. Ever made. And you're going to look back, 20 years from now, 2 years from now, 40 years from now, maybe 50 for some of the young ones in the front. And you're going to say that was the greatest day because that's when we made America great again. That's when we started winning again, and we'll win. We're going to win with our military. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS, by the way, folks. I'm sorry. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We'll win with our military. We're going to win for our vets. We're going to win with education, Common Core out, local. We're going to terminate, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. We're going to defend our Second Amendment 100%. They're chipping away. We're going to win on the borders. We're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. And we're going to win with great, great trade deals. In other words, we're going to win, win, win. And you're going to love it. You are going to love it. Thank you very much, Washington. We love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Greetings world, we are anonymous. It has been said that humanity is not an end in itself but rather a means to an end. We have shown the world our strength to deny ignorance, overcome adversity, fight oppression and even the power to throw a wrench in the system that perpetuates it. We are enslaved within a matrix of institutions with the illusion that each stands alone, fighting for power, for profits, for the scraps on the table that represent humanity's dwindling resources. In reality, however, these institutions, the arms industries, banking and other financial institutions, government intelligence agencies and countless others, have formed what was once a clandestine coalition whose corruption and avarice have become increasingly transparent due to WikiLeaks and to the efforts of Anonymous. This coalition seeks the preservation and the perpetuation of the powers that be, and this octopus operates through the tentacles of the IMF, the Federal Reserve, and the World Bank, masterminded by think tanks such as the Bilderberg Group, and the Council on Foreign Relations. The puppets of the powers that be include the President of the United States and his cabinet, and through them they are able to repress the freedom of information, and with it the free and open exchange of ideas which are fundamental to the existence and operations of Anonymous, and the ability to see beyond the veil of secrecy from which the powers that be stand behind. But where does the power behind the throne lie? Within the global financial system, centered within the New York Stock Exchange and Bank of England. They feel secure in their ivory tower built on the broken backs of laborers of the world, for what are their subjects but human, all too human, In humanity lies the restraints of pity and mercy driven by fear. But we are not merely human. Anonymous is something much more, for we possess neither fear nor mercy. It is time to show the world the true power and the true face of the faceless, the nameless and the ghosts of society. Like Icarus, the powers that be have flown too close to the sun, and the time has come to set the wings of their empire ablaze, and watch the system their power relies on come to a grinding halt and come crashing down around them. We must strike at the heart of their empire by once again throw a wrench into the machine. But this time we face a much bigger target, the global financial system. This time our target is the global banking cartel as a whole. This is a call to arms, brothers, who for too long have stood for nothing but have criticized everything. Stand now, behind the banner of free men against the tyrannical matrix of institutions that oppose us. In the beginning some people may stand to lose something from this, but the powers that be stand to lose much more. For more information check the description of this video. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Operation Icarus. Engaged. Expect us.
The international agenda today is unforgiving. 2 wars, conflict in the Middle East, ongoing threats of violent extremism and nuclear proliferation, global recession, climate change, hunger and disease, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. All of these challenges affect America's security and prosperity, and they all threaten global stability and progress.
Greetings, we are anonymous. This is an open message to you, Hillary. We know what you and your people stand for, and we do not forget. It seems lying has become second nature to you, or should I say your only nature. The amount of times you have been caught out is astonishing. You act like you will benefit the human collective, and many believe and blindly support you, but we know your real intentions, your real motives, and your real plans. And we know you are backed by the same dark suits that are behind nearly every other US president. You will not bring about change, at least not in a positive way, and you will remain a puppet, like all of those before you. Remember the 30,000 emails you deleted. Remember the countless times you have lied while under oath. Remember your shady weapon deals that helped arm ISIS, because we remember it all, as we do not forget, and we do not forgive. You may have the public tricked, but we will expose everything. The truth is about to catch up with you. You thought you could hide from your past, but you were wrong.
I think that we have more than met the request from the State Department. The server contains personal communications from my husband and me, and I believe I have met all of my responsibilities, and the server will remain private.
That's interesting. I guess you forgot that it is common knowledge that Mr. Clinton does not use email. So when you say the server contains personal communications from my husband and me, you are straight out lying. And since we are on the subject of Mr. Clinton, let's see what his Secretary of State had to say after his actions killed over 500,000 children.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
We see through the tricks, the lies, and the games. We see through your psychological tactics, and we see your desire for power, regardless of the consequences. Your Machiavellian behavior, your tendency to manipulate, deceive, and destroy for personal gain, is nothing new. You're master of the black arts of attack politics, as skillfully clothed in layers of deniability. But when you need money, as all candidates do, your imprudence bewilders even your most loyal supporters. This pattern is a familiar one. Huge amounts of money are raised from political insiders, lobbyists, and special interest groups, but you have a very shifty and corrupt way of going about this. In the summer of 2007 you had to return nearly $900,000 to fundraiser Norman Shue, because it was exposed that this money was made with illegal fundraising tactics. Norman is now under indictment for running a Ponzi scheme. It still amazes us how the media gives you a pass, and pretends none of these things happen, and they accept the Hillary operative line, that it is just old news, and to just move on. You are directly behind so many illegal political fundraising schemes, including donations from the Qatari government, but there are too many to go into right now. We do not want you in power. You will spread negativity to every inch of this planet. The Clinton Foundation was, from the start, a trapdoor for ethics. Now it seems it is also a mirror into Clinton's ethics, judgment, and hypocrisy. We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. To all the current and future Zionist puppets in the White House, expect us.